is going on, everybody? Welcome to the stream. We are back and better than ever. And we're back in D&D. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the stream. We got it going on. We are excited for tonight. Hex, what is up, Hex? How the heck are you? It is great to see you. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to the show. We got it going on. We got the guys who are just off stream. They're hanging out in the green room, and we are ready to go. So we're just outside of the winery. Last time we finished a huge battle, and we're going to be heading back to Krezk. Tio in chat. What's going? Nice, Tio. That's a great icon right there. That's just fantastic. It's party time. That's right. It's party time, Tio. What's going up? Koala, welcome back. How the heck are you? Good to see you. What's going on? Glad you can make it back to the stream. Welcome back. Welcome to the show. We got the guys just off stream. They're waiting to join us. It's great to see you all. Welcome back to the show. We're going to have a great night in front of us, and I'm super excited to see what Whiplash has in store. So I'm going to bring the fellas on, and I'm going to see how they're doing. Fellas, what is going on? How we doing?
So good, man. So good. Happy
So good.
Friday.
Happy Friday. It is Friday indeed. I actually had to work the last 2 days, so I'm glad it's Friday. You know what I'm saying?
I bet.
I feel that.
Are you feeling it? Hey,
The
Whiplash, how
browser
you doing?
just crashed.
Oh, no. That's not good.
It's an omen.
It is. Oh, great. That's awesome. Say hey, Fredden. What is going
Hey,
on?
Fredden. What is going on?
What
Hey,
is
Fredden.
going on?
What's
Hey,
going on?
Zero! What's going on, Zero? How the heck are you? Everybody on Zero stream, welcome. What is going on? Zero, how you been?
I have been good since we last talked 7 minutes ago.
7 minutes. I know. It was so long, though. I missed you. I missed you. I missed you.
Missed you too.
All right. We ready to do this? I've been thinking about this like all week after that epic battle that we had. I mean, it was just
It was good.
fierce.
Yeah, you guys had some fighting.
Yeah, right?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Look at all the blood on the ground. Jeez.
Right?
What a mess.
What?
So myself and Phineas, 100% Phineas, not myself, found out. Where did it go?
What is going on, Hex? Thank
did you
you
send it
so
to me?
much. Thank you for that sub.
Oh,
You
no.
are so generous. Thank you for
Yeah,
all
we
you
can do
do for the
things like
stream.
this.
Thank you.
And Did it work?
Oh, what?
Yeah, it's really slaggy. It's much laggier for me,
Yeah.
Zero, than it was.
It never
when we
even
were
showed
trying
on
it
my
out.
screen. So
Oh, really? Yeah,
I saw it, so that's something.
yeah. It's awesome, right? It's just fantastic.
that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Right? I wish they had a lightning one. But
All right, so Fred, then what happened last?
Well, I believe we went on a mission from the people of Krezk. We were in the Wizard of the Winery's house, I suppose. Before then, we had made it into their lands and fought some
who do you want that for? Thank you very much.
fighting feral druids throughout their house. We learned a couple things from one of the druids. Winter Splinter which was
I have 2 of them now. Thank you.
so the druids once wanted to get rid of the humans in the area, so we could do a ritual to summon the spirits of the ancients. And the feral druids were working with their master alongside Strahd and the Goltius tree to break free of Barovia. and Dira got consumed by darkness and decided to force choke someone to death.
I resemble that remark.
You do. You resemble it very well. And then I believe Dira and Cairn were going around trying to steal children's clothes. But it was an interesting encounter in the house itself. Then we left after crashing the Druid's party and beheading them. We moved on to return to Irene and Ismark, and they were attacked by a bunch of Strahd's minions, and they were fighting back alongside some newcomers who happened to be like a knight or a couple fighters, and we just finished mopping up that mess before the session ended.
Right. Any comments from the other players?
Yeah, I had gotten the impression that the ritual they were trying to complete. I mean, maybe I was misunderstanding it at the time, but yeah, they were looking to bring down the barrier. But I had understood that the Druid's master was also kind of Strahd. But I guess it makes more sense.
How did you get it so that you could add your own option for your points? I tried adding my second emote to the list. Clicking on it doesn't do anything for me. I ended up adding just another graphic that I had. I didn't use one of my emotes booth.
Figure out what their business was at the winery. I'm searching for something to complete the ritual.
Okay, so it's good we killed the Winter Soldier. But where to go from here? Sorry, the Winter Splinter. Winter Splinter.
Winter Splinter. So yeah, you got back here and you walked into a bloody fight. Several zombies were already dead on the floor. You saw a huge dire wolf fighting a stranger. And everybody was up in arms. Except
He had one from a while ago, way back. I don't remember who gave it to him.
Irina, I guess. You guys got involved. Dira did his wand of entanglement and trapped some enemies along with a friendly.
That
for
was
the
very
whole
funny. I know, she just couldn't get out. She was like stuck there.
I think at one point somebody was even like, "Irina, let's go!" Like one of the other NPCs. That was funny.
Yeah. So some time has passed. Some of the blood that's soaking the snow of these wolves is still steaming up behind you. The battle is still fresh in your minds, but you've caught your breath and you've gathered around the campfire near.
It's very evil.
Davian Mardikov's little tent here that he was hanging out with his family with, and you see the stranger in front of you. He's wearing a plate armor. He's got a red cloak, black hair, and by all counts, you can tell that for a human, he's quite handsome.
Hey, Whiplash. Sorry to interrupt. Who's this over here?
Adrian.
Okay.
I'll move him too. He was just catching his breath, catching his breath.
Very good. And so there's this dude and
Dag?
this dude. Okay.
Yeah, Dag is actually. These were characters introduced to you when you first encountered them, except that there weren't any tokens.
Okay.
So Stefania Mardikov's husband is Dag Tomescu. And then you have Adrian, who is a younger son of Adrian here. Of Damien, rather. And then, of course, you have Ismark and Irina and you guys, and then a new character. So, you just got done catching your breath here, and you see Irina walk up to the stranger and say, hold him by the wrists with both hands. And she says to him, Vasily, if you hadn't shown up, surely we would have perished. How can we ever thank you for your heroism? I saw you fight that dire wolf. That was just amazing. And he says, oh, think nothing of it, Irina. It was my pleasure. And thank you, strangers. And he looks at you now and says, surely your help was needed. I thank you for your assistance.
I only wish we could have gotten here a bit sooner, so that we may have maybe lessened the effect these fiends had on our group. Is everyone okay?
Yes, I believe everyone is all right. And Vasily looks at his knee, and like behind his knee, there's like a part where his armor doesn't cover him, and there's some blood coming down there. He says, "Well, we will be all right. It's nothing but a scrap."
Does how does everyone look health-wise?
So everybody looks pretty good. It looks like Vasily took the brunt of the fight, and actually nobody got hit in the fight. You guys took all of the hits, especially due to Minorin's taunt, which was successful. He taunted pretty much the whole group.
And the leg.
Yeah, I think I saw a tree
Yeah.
turning towards you at one point.
Hence
Yeah,
this circle of corpses here.
How did
I'm gonna take
that
credit-
happen?
I'm going to take credit for some of those, but
Yeah.
Yeah, you can take credit for some of those.
Oh yeah, I didn't kill them all. I just got them together. You know.
I take credit for the smear of blood that is right here. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, you exploded something down there,
A
didn't
wolf,
you?
I think it was, yeah.
with a double
Yeah.
with a double
Agonizing
eldritch blast.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's it. So yeah,
Vasily, is it? I say, and I approach. I am Timgrum of the Order of the Silver Dragon. This is my friend Minoran of the Triton people. In Shindira, of dark past and slightly moody. And somewhere around here, I can't see. Okay, sorry, I didn't see Karen at first. And here's our friend Karen. We are a group of adventurers new to this land, but I'm glad that we have met you.
the
And I'm
pleasure
gonna
is
walk
all
forward and
mine,
I'll
Master
take
Dwarf.
his hand after Tim Grim does.
Yes, and he shakes your hand too, Minoran. Oh, you're a small one, aren't you? Where are you from?
As good Tim Grim said, I am from the lands of the Triton, under the water. It's I mean,
Under
perhaps
the
it's
water,
not me
you
that's
say?
small, but all of you who are rather large.
Huh. Yes, I've never thought of it that way. And Irina says, "Isn't she funny, Fazili? She's great." And she means you, Minoran. Minoran, Irina says, "Tell him about the spoon."
And I regale Vasily about the battle of the spoon and the bread.
Yeah, let's hope that he's not a spy.
Says Fazili. That's
I think he's pretty important to the story, Boo.
And you can see that Irina is absolutely smitten with this.
Okay.
And,
Say,
Wing woman coming in.
nice.
what's that, Phineas?
I have not introduced myself to him. I'll say, Vasily, I'm in Shindira. It's nice to meet you. And we're glad to have your help. Where did you come from? How did you know about this battle?
So, you shake this man's hand, and this vision comes to you, Dira.
Oh boy. Okay.
And he says, I am a nobleman in the city of... fuck, I'm having a blank.
Valaki?
Krezk?
Yes. Yes. I'm a nobleman in the village of Valaki. And I do some adventuring here and there where I go out and I try to protect those who travel the road.
And Dira is just stunned. lets go of his hand and just really kind of stares at him like he has never looked at someone before. Just like, what is this from? And turns to Timgrim and uses telepathy. Timgrim, I just had a vision when I shook his hand. I'm not sure what it means, but I'm wary. I'm wary. It just settles back into the rhythm of the conversation.
Timron just kind of looks sideways past Vasily, raises an eyebrow, and nods at Dira, and kind of scrutinizes Vasily a little bit as he smiles and warmly greets this newcomer.
Davian.
Oh, Hex, I hope you're not right.
These adventurers were on their way to your wine. Tell me, adventurers, what have you found there? Says Vasily. And Davian obviously is interested to hear your response. Please, have you cleared our ancestral home?
Yes, we encountered many feral druids there, and the fields were plagued by stick fiends, but through the strength of my companion's arms, we were able to.
Now I'm really nervous.
The worrying. Well, I'm not sure if we want to have this discussion now amidst the woes of the previous battle, but regardless, they were not after you specifically, but they did seem to be searching for something in your home, and they seemed intent on destroying the humans. So, yes.
As this conversation is moving along, Dira turns to Cairn and does telepathy again. Cairn, are we going to ask him about DB?
I can't hear anything.
Sorry, I just...
That's actual telepathy.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Now you don't know.
Message received, Phineas.
Yeah. I say to Cairn with telepathy, are you going to ask about DB?
At that, I kind of spark up a little bit and spit some blood out because I took some serious hits during the fight. And I just walk up to them and just kind of say, like, I haven't introduced myself. I'm Cairn. I'm a lizard. Get used to it. Does anybody know somebody with the initials DB? Because I'll need to talk to them.
I raise my hand. I do. Donos Bavarian. What do you know about Donos?
How do you know this Donos?
Well, he was a knight back in my homeland.
You're making that up.
It's true. He was the finest Triton quartermaster I've ever met.
Does anybody from this plane know anybody with the initials DB?
I'm sorry, Cairn. It evades me. Perhaps our friend Davian here will have a better idea.
DB. Yes. Have you perchance seen the inscription above the door of the loading area of the winery?
That's why I'm asking.
Yes. Well, you might have found out that I was holding back some information before when you were asking me about the winery and, you know, why someone might be interested in that and why the shipments weren't coming anymore.
Just let out a very soft, low growl. Very soft. Just. You don't say.
Well, the Wizard of Wines, as the location is called, it's not me who's the wizard, you see. It's the winery has been in my family for many generations, but it is a little known fact that many years ago, hundreds of years ago, the winery was founded by a wizard. And his initials were DB. And he would use magic stones and put them in the earth, causing the vines to grow without the need for sunlight, you see. That's how we've been able to grow these delicious wines. But I'm sad to say that through the many attacks of the druids, all the stones have been stolen from the land, and I am unable now to produce more wine.
You may be surprised to find, and I'll pull out what I know to be a large red bloodstone, that this appears to be one of such stones.
Ah! He says, "Where did you find such a thing? Was there one left after all?"
Holy crap.
And I'll tell him the story at this point because I feel free to at this, this
We're
is
learning a lot
big
right now.
turning point in my life anyway. Several years ago, we came across a band of mercenaries and we killed them and we looted them as we do, as Dragonborn do to make our family stronger. I looted this red stone. It was interesting, and I thought maybe you could bring a price at some market as we adventured. And when we came home, many of my brothers and sisters died. Most of my family were clandestine and didn't understand that it was probably due to whatever we stole from them, the clothing, the weapons, the gear, the something came with it. But they blamed this bloodstone. They blamed this, and they blamed me. And they told me to take it and leave. And only return if I killed whoever owned it.
This is huge.
Or proved that it
Huge.
wasn't what killed my family.
Ah. What a tale. It
I do
does
have
indeed look like one of the stones. It's even engraved on the stone. Look, it says it right here, DB.
Well, I certainly hope it's not the small blue one's family. Or her knight, I should say.
Oh no, Donos is not related to me.
Yeah, sorry, the knight, rather. Hopefully,
And-
this is the stone that you speak of.
Yes. Long ago, when we were still able to produce Champagne de l'Estompe, our finest brand, we had 3 stones in the ground, and one disappeared. I always blamed my
Who's
son.
that one for?
who
Karen,
runs
got
the
it.
inn in Valaki. You said you've met him? I've always blamed my son for losing it, or maybe selling it, taking it somewhere, but perhaps that is not what happened after all. I don't know how an outsider of this domain could have ended up with the stone. It is a
He
mystery.
may have sold it. Never underestimate the shrewdness of those that don't have money and find out that they can.
Sound advice for someone so young. If you don't mind me asking, I have not had much experience with your kind, but how long have you walked the earth?
24 of your years. It was about 3 years ago that I found this stone.
Yes, and it is about 4 years ago that we have stopped producing our finest brand. I believe the other stones have been taken by the druids in recent times and brought south of the winery. I do not know what they might need it for. I always thought its only purpose was to make things grow nice.
Perhaps if there's another purpose, it was not DB who set out to reclaim this gem, Karen. Perhaps it was a servant of whoever it is these druids are serving may be another servant of the Gultias tree.
Do you know who made these stones?
I believe it was the wizard DB. His name is lost to the ages, but I believe it was he who crafted these stones because he was such an appreciator of the fine liquids that we produce.
I have an awkward question. Is he dead?
Oh, I assume so. It's been hundreds of years. And the winery was destitute for a few years before we took it over.
With that knowledge, I'll brighten up a little bit and say, well, that helps me. If you would do me a favor, I would give you this stone. It's been a burden around my neck, metaphorically speaking, for as long as I've carried it. I would happily be rid of it if I were to be offered some kind of proof as to what it does. Anything to bring back to my family someday, to prove to them that it is what I say it is and not what they say it is.
Yeah, that's
They
true,
say it
Hex.
was a magical charm that was cursed and killed my family members. I had to prove them otherwise.
I'm sorry, but then I cannot take your stone because I have no such proof. All I have is some references, surely. That is just merely circumstantial evidence in your case. But I promise if I do find proof, I will give it to you. I will find you, or I will have one of my relatives find you and give it to you.
Can you make use of this stone now?
I believe if we bury it in the soil, the grapes will return in short order. It
Karen
is
takes
worth a
one
try, at least.
last long look at the surface, kind of holds it up.
This is huge.
And
This
believe
is
it or
a
not,
huge
Dragonborn
moment,
do
everybody.
cry. And a small tear rolls down his cheek, and he says, okay. And then, as he hands the stone to him, he says, if you find evidence, find me. And hands him the
Surely,
stone.
Karen, your family would believe you if you told them the truth now.
You would
Today-
think. I don't know about the Tritons, but the Dragonborn are not a particularly trustworthy people.
I don't understand.
I'll just
So
look
they-
back to.
So
Just look
Davian
back.
takes it from your hand, and you can see the gratitude in his eyes. He says, surely, young Dragonborn, if I do find it, you will have it.
Somewhat troubled on my face, I sit back down. And just kind of bury my face in my hands a little bit.
And you can see as he shows the stone to Stefania and to Adrian, they're like elated. They look really glad because surely their future did not look bright for their business.
I'll kind of mutter under my breath, remind me to kill that guy in Krezk. Was it Krezk? No. What was the little town that we were in where the guy told me it was fake?
The Barovia. We were in
Barovia, that's right. I couldn't remember which town it was. Remind me to kill that shopkeep in Barovia.
I'm just gonna pat Karen on the shoulder and I'm gonna say to him, Karen, it's a noble thing you did, but maybe we just let the shopkeep go this once. Sure, we're better off with him behind us.
Karen is like, okay.
Maybe we will.
And Ken,
That is great.
Minoran smiles broadly, glad that she's gotten through.
She's like elated that she's like made a change in my life.
Yes, that was it, Hex.
So good.
On the
He's on
next
the up and up.
nightly
He's gonna
adventures
stop
of
killing
Karen.
people.
And Karen, on that great performance there, you get another +1. So that is 3 for you now.
Great. I just picturing next time you guys sleep in an inn, you all close your your lights. As soon as Karen hears some snoring from Minorin, his eyes open.
And like one of those little like a Cheshire cat smile on his face.
Yes. And that's when it goes to black, and that's the cliffhanger for the next episode.
Our season ends right at that point.
Yeah, that's it.
Davian, could you tell us anything about this area to the south where you think these other stones are?
Oh. Yes, the druids live there. The location has always been off limits. I do not know what the scenery looks like there. They're forbidden woods, and those who travel south of the winery have often been attacked by those same evil fiends that walk the forests. The ones that took over the winery. He says the place is cursed, you see. In very long ago, barbarians used to live there. And their souls still haunt the land. But some say those are just myths.
What would it be worth if we were to go south and see if we could recover those stones for you?
He says, I don't know, I'm not a rich man. Most of the wine I produce, I give away for a very cheap price because in my mind, it's the only thing that brings some joy to some of the Barovians' lives. As you can tell, and he points at the sky upstairs, up above, which is, dark and foreboding and barely any sunlight coming through.
Yeah,
As
I
you
want to
can
go
tell,
south.
this land can be quite depressing. The wine makes all the difference.
When he says that, I'll just kind of look up and go, "You don't say," and kind of spit a little more blood on the ground and just kind of laugh to myself.
So is Karen like bleeding out here? Like,
No, I'm at, if technical terms, I'm at 22 out of 45, so.
okay.
Bruised.
So-
You're bruised.
Yeah, you're spitting out
Got
blood,
it.
and I'm also kind of spitting out blood then.
Got a cracked rib right.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just look up and say, is it not normal for there to be this much, gray for you?
Oh, yes. Yes. I have never seen blue sky in my life.
I mean, take it or leave it. It's really not that great.
Except for once a year maybe. A little bit of the fog just clears up and you can see what the sky looks like beyond. But, is it a figment of your imagination? You don't know because just as sudden as it came, it is gone again.
Well, it certainly exists. And I let's look at my party members and say, we saw blue skies for the weeks before we came here. So certainly, at least on the material plane, it's common to see blue skies. Perhaps when we're done, you'll see blue skies here as well.
I have trouble believing you, young one. To be young and so naive. My apologies, young Minorin, but I do not believe such a thing is possible. You should focus
Anything is
on
possible.
leading a
With the
different life.
strength- There's no life greater than the one I lead. I just kind of narrow my eyes at him, like, why would I choose a simpler, easier life when there are people suffering in this very domain?
At this point, Karen's gonna lift his head and raise up his hand towards the whole argument and just spit out a little more blood and go, "Don't argue with the little blue one. I have tried." and just kind of fall silent again.
And he takes it and just nods and looks at the stone again and says, "We should go put this in the ground immediately, Stefania." And she's in agreement. And Vasily talks to Ismark and says, "Ismark, were you not telling me before we were so viciously attacked by this filth that you were looking for a safe haven for Irina?" Yes, that's true, Vasily, says Ismark. And he says, "Why doesn't she stay at my villa in Vallaki? Surely she will be safe there." And you can see Ismark ponder it for a while, and he says, "Any place could be as good as any. I don't know. We were heading for Krezk." And Irina says, "Ismark, surely we could go with Vasily. I mean, he's got a big mansion. Surely that will be a safe place."
Vasily, you don't happen to know the Burgermeister, do you?
The Burgermeister? I'm invited to dinner maybe once or twice.
Are you related?
No, we are not related. My family name is von Holz. We go back a long time in this valley. But no, we are not related to the Burgermeisters of Vallaki.
I'd like to ask you, outside of Vallaki, what do you think about the parties that are had, the festivities? What's your take on them?
Well, you know the laws in Vallaki, the way they are. I think the Burgermeister is a little misguided, but
Do you think he's a vampire
imagine
slave, Hex?
being in his position, you see.
Holy
keeping
crap.
Vallaki safe. I don't know if I would have a better solution. It seems to have worked so far.
That's what I don't understand. I mean, everywhere else we've traveled, I mean, surely as we've gotten farther from the castle of Strahd, from Ravenloft, it's gotten a bit easier, but why would Vallaki be spared? Do you have any idea what could be happening that Vallaki would be so untouched?
Your guess is as good as mine, he says. But, how about Krezk? Krezk has not been attacked for years either. Why do you think it might be the case, Master Dwarf?
Well, admittedly, I don't know much about these lands.
We're learning a lot
But-
here, everybody.
I feel surely as you go stray farther from Ravenloft, I suppose it must be a little bit more difficult for Strahd to exert his power. That said, and he looks around at the beasts lying in heaps around them. Nowhere
He says-
could be said to be truly safe. The walls, I guess, might be safer.
He says maybe
Who would you like for that?
the perception
Got
of
it.
Strahd is wrong. I've never met the man. Maybe he actually cares for his people. I have never known him to attack Krezk or Vallaki. All I see in the woods and on the roads are zombies and, wolves, and those are the real threats to the people. The so-called devil in the castle, I've never seen him harm a living soul.
What's your take on this, Irina?
Well, Irina says, my memories of it aren't 100%, but according to my brother, he attacked me. And she holds her neck when she says that. And Ismark says, yes, he bit her in the neck like some vile pervert.
Does Irina not remember this?
No, says Irina, I have very foggy memories of that moment.
Right.
So, with that in mind, though, that he has attacked the citizens of Barovia, he has come out down on Irina here.
I
I don't.
You
I
can
don't
see
feel
Vasily
like this is a
frown.
man that cares about his subjects in their
Let's
own
just-
right.
let's just be
And,
candid here. Go ahead.
What did you
Minoran.
say, Dira?
I was going to say I think we just need to be candid here. I think we're Irina. We've been protecting you for all the time we've been here. Let's just be candid. Wherever you go, Strahd will follow. So, while you were in Barovia, the village of Barovia, he was there a lot. I fear that wherever you go next, he's going to follow. We need to place you somewhere we're sure of, that has good intent, and that
And strong walls.
strong walls for sure. Both cities have strong walls. We didn't feel good when we were last in Alaki. We left there in a hurry.
Yeah, you mentioned an Izek Strasny, Dira. You said he was a danger to Irina, did you not? That's why we left so quickly.
Yeah, we did.
Vasily, do you know of this Izek?
Oh, yes, the henchman of the Burgermeister.
Do
He's
you know
quite
that-
a fiendish arm.
Yeah, and we found toys in the toy shop there. Dolls that looked exactly like Irina. We found that, and we bolted. I don't want them to go back there.
Yes, he seems to have a fascination and a bit of an obsession for Irina, so it's worrying, I suppose, to have,
have-
someone considered dangerous within the very walls that should protect you.
Yeah.
Well-
that place was a bit of a fun house of horrors.
Well, says Vasily, and he looks at Irina the way only a man could look at a woman, and says, "Well,
His eyeballs.
with his
He
eyeballs."
stares at her. Wait.
Sort of, looks
Kind of
at her
unzips
up.
his trousers a bit.
The most perceptive ones of you can see that he sort of, scans her up and down real quick and says, "Surely an infatuation with the lady is not a stretch of the imagination."
Just gonna laugh and nudge him in the ribs and say, an infatuation is not the problem, Vasily. It is when the infatuation starts to threaten the will of the lady herself that it becomes a problem. That is when it's no longer an infatuation, but an obsession and a danger.
I think we can continue to second guess ourselves over and over and over and over. Let's stick with our plan. Vasily, clearly from those glances that you're given, you care about Irina. And if you
Oh.
care for her, as I think she cares for you, why not accompany her to Krezk? Help protect her there. We don't need to put her in a city where not only Strahd will be trying to find her, and then put her in a city that beyond that this evil person, this right hand of the Burgermeister, will also be going after her. We got one problem. We don't need to make it two. Let's go to Krezk. They'll let us in if we can take wine there and prove to them that we've to Irwin that we've opened the winery again. Let's stick with the plan. And by the way, Vasily,
But you see while you're arguing the point, you see that he's nodding and you're winning him over. You can. So he says, "All right. Did you introduce yourself as Dira or Inchindir?"
Inchendir.
All right, Inchendir. You make a compelling point. Let us do this.
Well, first, though, I think perhaps we should spend the evening with our dear Davian and his family, and in the morning we can all set out with the wine for Krezk. And we can
Yes.
discuss more possibly inside. Away
All
from...
right.
And I just gesture kind of towards the bodies and the blood.
Is there anything, though, that we should look for in these bodies and blood that may help us on our quest?
If you want some questionable minced meat, you will find it here.
I'm good.
Oh,
The
and
rations, the rations we
look at
carry
him
are good
and,
enough.
Then
I'll
Karen
say-
is like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah."
So is he
Yeah.
happy about the wolves?
Yes, and the
Yeah,
zombies,
still
I
fresh.
guess.
So yeah, so are these...
I do need to
beasts
figure out what this
edible then?
card is for.
The undead
I don't know how to
things
get to the
being-
vision.
Well, they're undead, and I know enough about them to not want to eat that meat, but
You know,
the other creatures, are they
maybe
fine?
maybe we do this. Why don't we? If I've learned anything while I'm here, if I've learned anything, we don't need to give more bodies for Strahd to use. Why don't we collect these zombies, collect these wolves, pile them up, and burn them?
I say we can burn the zombies with the stick fiends, surely, but the wolves and well, yes, you said before that the wolves can be harvested, right? We should make use of their pelts. We're not pressed on time. We can spend the evening gathering their meat and their pelts, and then put their lives to use.
That's great. Once again, your wisdom shines through, Minorum. And with that, my chat has given you another +1.
Oh, dope.
So you have 2. But yeah, whenever we're done this conversation, Deer will start to gather the zombies and burn them with his cantrip firebolt.
All right. Fazili is eager to help you. And, you guys are spending some time doing this stuff, piling them up, making a nice pile. Some of the stick fiends you guys killed are really dry wood also, so it will make for a nice kindling.
Nice. As we're doing this, and, Vasily maybe comes close to me, I'd be like, tell me about yourself, Vasily. Tell me about how you came to be here and your past.
Oh, he says.
And I look him over with, I'm sorry, and thinking about the vision that I've had when I shook his hand. As he's doing with this me, I reshake his hand and I say, thanks for your help, to see if I can glean anything more.
Give me a
from
perception
him.
check.
Okay. Perception, got it. 16.
Okay. You can tell that some of the features in this man's face are similar to the younger man in the vision you had.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And he says,
wanna
you had asked him a question, right?
Yes.
He says, there's not much to say. I was born here. I was born into wealth, unlike many others. And unlike my father, I felt like some of that opportunity should be put to good use. So I used my wealth to get some training, buy myself some equipment, and I make it my mission to set out on these roads and do what I can to help the innocent and to make this world a better place.
When did you decide that? I mean, that's super noble of you, and in alignment with your noble upbringing. When did you connect with this? Why did you decide to do this in a land that's beset on all sides?
When I was a young man, I guess. I don't remember the exact moment. Yes, the exact moment now. I I guess when I was a young man. And, he looks to you like a human that's about, 23 years old or 30 years old, rather. Not old, but not young either, kind of thing.
Well, I think it's noble, and we can certainly use your help along the way. From what we've experienced here, we're going to need it. And if you're willing to help, we're going to need it.
I will do what I can. But tell me, what is your story? How did you come to be here? Tell me a little bit about your...
Well, we were... Gosh, I don't remember. Clearing a citadel out and helping a town. And trying to solve a mystery for them now. It's foggy. And after we finished and solved the town's problem, we met the Festani, Staramir. And the next thing we knew, we woke up here and we're speaking with Madame Eva. Do you know Madame Eva?
No, I do not know Madame Eva. Who is this?
One of the Vistani. And they brought us here. We were actually from another plane. We're not from here. We were brought here. And briefly met Strahd. Have you met Strahd?
I've never had the pleasure, no. Have you?
Yeah, we met him. And I wouldn't call it a pleasure. He was not pleased with us being here. And he nearly bested us when we were in Barovia, when we were trying to protect Irina and Ismark and trying to get them to a safe city. Because Barovia is a mess now.
You don't say.
No, and if you care for her, you wouldn't send her to anywhere that there might be danger for her.
And Ismark chimes in here as he's helping you guys and says, "Oh yes, Fazili, it's not like the last time you've been around. The place has been under siege." "Oh, that is sad," says Fazili.
So if you truly care about Ismark's sister, you will do nothing. Indira just pulls back his hood to put her in harm's way. And he puts his hood back on.
Okay.
And turns and starts the fire with Firebolt.
Well, is Firebolt the spell?
Yeah, Firebolt.
Nice.
It's boom. And if it, well, hold on one second.
Can you put the text down for Firebolt? Because
oh no, hold on. Yeah, in a minute.
No,
I can't do it.
You may just want to read what it says before you explode like this mountain of corpses all over the forest.
It's not Fireball. It's Firebolt.
Bolt.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Okay, hold on.
It's like a lightning bolt, but made of fire.
Yeah, hold on. Let me go over to my spells here. And,
Firebolt.
There. And can I get that in chat? Hold on.
I think the joke I've heard is Firebolt is, Firebolt is like written to my dearest, right? Fireball is written to whom it may concern.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I like that.
To whom it may concern. That's great.
Yeah, that's exactly. I've seen that too.
Yeah, that's great.
Tim Grimm, you just got another +1.
So this mound of rotting flesh and, wolf fur and all that stuff.
Well, hold on. Before we do the whole burning the wolf fur, I mean, Minarin's plan was to carve up the wolves, get meat and pelts, and maybe some of the claws. So, maybe she's tried to, rope anyone that looks like they can handle that sort of thing into helping her do that. So, can I just roll a nature roll to see how well it goes, or can it be like a persuasion check?
Yeah,
and a nature roll.
Persuade nature.
I'm
No,
persuading the
you,
people around to help me do it, and then doing it.
So Minorin expresses, guys, that she wants to gather some materials here off these wolves. Is there anybody that's just helping her, or you guys don't want to bother?
Personally, I'm all for her being a strong, independent Triton that don't need no dwarf. No, I'll help her for sure.
All right. So give me a nature roll, and we'll do it with advantage.
Yes. Please. Oh, natural
Well,
20.
So you are able to sever the dire wolf's pelt, including retaining the shape of the face and stuff like that. To use the hood, to use the face as like a hood type of effect.
Boy, if he turns that pelt into a coat, it's going to drag for 10 feet on the ground.
Yeah, it
I
is
think
quite
they only
a.
have 4 feet.
Yeah, this thing is definitely too large for the likes of Minorin or Timgrim. You could cut it in such a way that it would fit, or you could keep it as intact as you want, and have it like that. But the thing weighs 15 pounds or something like that.
15?
Yes.
It lost 5 pounds since the last time. I think last time you
Yeah,
said
this
it was
is a
20
smaller one.
pounds.
This is a big boy.
Okay. So, can I call it Pristine Direwolf
Mm-hmm.
for?
It might be a little singed though, in a couple spots.
Well, I killed it, I think.
Yeah, but I hit it too, so just
That's true.
I did 10 damage to it, as I recall.
Maybe you hit it like just in like the flank somewhere.
I did.
It's unnoticeable.
On its
kind of.
shins.
It's
Yeah.
chin.
It had
There we
shin
go. We're not
splints
using
because of
those
me.
parts, so it's okay.
That's right.
It's okay.
That's right.
And you, Tim Grim, helping out, you gather about for your entire party. This doesn't include Stefania and everybody else, but for your entire party, an evening's worth of wolf steak.
Nice.
Oh, beautiful.
Karen likes his raw, as I recall.
Eh.
Man,
Well,
of many words.
When you guys aren't looking, he puts some of that acid stuff on there anyway. It's all good.
That's like my
Caliente.
A1 steak sauce. Is,
Right, yeah.
Bleh.
Yeah.
You guys seen The Fly?
delicious.
Nice.
Kills bacteria, too.
Let me know when
Okay.
those have been harvested and I can set it aflame with.
Yes, it is. It has been done.
Okay, let me do that. There we go.
The thing lights a flame, and everything is being consumed by that fire that's on that pyre. So you guys feel ready to go. The rest of the party too. The tent is being packed. Everything's good to go. And
Yeah, let's
you
go
guys
inside.
head south.
Oh, I
Yep,
think
we
we're going to
head
go inside
the
for a rest, right?
winery. Yep.
to the Wizard of the Wines, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And probably south is my vote.
All right. So I'm gonna move it back to Barovia.
On the way, I'll just discuss with Davian. I'll say the druids were doing something to your wines. I believe they poisoned your large vats of wine with a concoction that they brought along with them. I'm not sure if you have something to deal with that, but if you're willing to wait until the next morning, I can, of course, help purify the
Of
goods
course.
for you.
Of course, he says. But Minorin, I had a batch ready, one of my last batches ready to be shipped out. It was in the loading dock area. Was it no longer there? Let's go back to the church first, because you know how this works. I got to traverse.
Hello, church.
I
We're
think
taking a
Minorin's
long
gonna
way.
check her memory. And she just says, was it still there? Do I
Yes,
think
it
it was-
was.
I say, yes, I think I recall it being there, of course, but, even if your wine is still there, the fact that the rest of your wine is poisoned is I'm sure, troublesome for you. And you asked us to help you out. If we're going to help you out, then there's no point leaving some of your problems still lying around. We'll do everything. We will finish the job, as is only natural.
Oh, if you can do such a thing, Lady
Of course.
Minorin, I would be grateful
No.
indeed.
No haircut.
So, he sees all the dead stick fiends, as you guys call them, laying in between the vines, and he's quite impressed. He compliments you guys on your effectiveness. He says, I wish I had any money to give you. This is fine work you did.
I'll just lay my hand on his shoulder and say, worry not, just continue on living as you were and providing for the people of Barovia. We too are working towards the good that we can do for Barovia.
And just, I feel great, Davian, that you've offered us a safe house anytime we need it.
Yes, that is my pleasure. And he tries to summon Cairn over. He says, "Young Dragonborn, Cairn, come here." And he gives you back the stone. And he says, "Please, put it in the soil right here."
I'm struggling not to make a "that's what she said" joke, but I won't.
Till my earth.
Zero made that joke, not Karen. All right, and I'll just kind of dig, help him out with it.
All right. So you guys put the stone in the soil together, and press the earth on top of it. And as you stand up, Karen, you see the life in the vines that were looking very dreadful. In that whole section of the grove, or the winery rather, you see those plants come back to life, and were they already there, or was it happening while you were looking at it? You can't really tell, but the little small plump grapes are now on the vines as well, as if they've been in the sun for several weeks already. And he says, "See? It's the stone. You have no idea what you did for the people in Barovia. With these spirits, we will raise their spirits."
Davian, I'll ask a favor. Since Cairn did this for you, I think you should name this wine after Cairn from here on out. That it shouldn't be Red Crush or Purple Blush or whatever it was called.
White
This
Claw.
should be, this should be, a Syrah of Cairn or something. It's got to have Cairn's name in it. Can you
Or the
commit to that?
Ebon
Can you commit to that, Cairn? Davian, to rename your wine and call it at least a varietal after Cairn.
What do you say, Karen? Do you have a name you would like to give it?
Evans
Perhaps.
Ale.
Muted.
How about?
There you go. No, you're
How
good. You're
about-
good.
How about? I was thinking. Veil of Evenscale actually is pretty good. What kind of wine is it?
Oh, this is the stone we lost the longest time ago. It's the best variety. It is slightly sweet, but it has a real kick to it.
Kind of like you, Cairn.
I like you better when you're a bad guy.
How about Karen Crush? Hex from chat just said.
All I can do is picture it in a can. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Orange Crush.
Black Dragon's Tear.
I actually kind of like that
Yeah, I like that.
because I did mention a tear rolling down my face earlier. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
kind of hoping nobody saw that.
Dragon tears.
Ah, more salty goodness.
If I bought
That's right.
it's on you.
Yeah, I kind of like.
You're a
Hmm.
Black Dragon.
Yeah. I how about like an ebon scale crush or something like that.
You can, if that's what you want, that's good. If you want to ponder it a little bit, we can come
I'll
back.
ponder
to
it. I'll ponder it a little.
All right. He says, "No worries. I understand it's a big decision, but for sure, if you let me know later tonight, I will set to work at my printing press immediately."
Well, thank you.
Okay. So he shows you guys, how there's 3 barrels of Red Dragon Crush. Sadly, the cheapest brand, still, in the loading area, ready to go. He says, "Tomorrow morning, we will take the 2 horses we have, and we will ride up to Krezk and deliver this. Surely they will let you in then. And then you can put Lady Irina to safety, and perhaps your worst toils will be behind you."
I like that order.
Show me Minorin, he says. Which vats were infected with those evil druids' concoction?
I say, of course, if you would allow me to perform my ritual once again, I can point them out in real time. Instead of going by memory, I can simply show each of them as I see it
Okay.
under the
So
ritual's trance.
He's in there with you. And let me see if I can remove all. Where is it here? Wizard of the Wines. Like 150 maps here. It's tricky. I'm gonna remove all fog of war. There you can see this place. Is there anything I dragged outside or whatever?
Whoa.
No.
That's weird when I scroll my wheel. Look at my.
Yeah, that is weird.
Is
You
that
may
a
want to
layer?
just refresh your browser
Okay.
there, Phineas.
Thank you.
I don't know. Yeah, he walks into the general area there with you, Minorin. While you, Timgrim, you hear Stefania scream upstairs.
We run upstairs. I run upstairs. Sorry.
And you basically find her, holding her hands to her mouth, looking at the fucking onslaught, excuse my language, you guys left there. And like the marks from the acid is now long gone, but the floor there has become very porous.
Yeah.
Ah.
We just
you
say,
guys have some subfloor damage.
yes.
Just kind of
like,
walk away.
And
He's
you
gonna-
hear Dag in a side room say, "Those scoundrels even went through all our clothes."
Well,
Sure, that's what they did.
It appears as though the druids were looking for something particular
Yeah.
while they were here. They left no stone unturned, as it were.
well,
We must get rid
That's
of
a
this
huge-
master dwarf.
Huge
Who will
lie
help
right there,
us?
guys. Huge lie.
Of
Because we did that last time.
To start collecting the random body parts that are strewn about the place.
You, Adrian, Stefania commands. You get a bucket and a scrub. We got to get rid of this blood, and there's guts all over the wall here.
Sorry.
Sorry.
That was my
It's
fault. Sorry.
Dear as
Yeah.
luck. That's what we do. We paint houses.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
you know what I'm saying.
All right.
many
So,
druids-
so
fussed
how
about
many
leaving
druids?
peacefully.
How many
Tim-
druids
Tim
does it
Grimm and
take to
them.
paint a wall? Right?
yeah.
Well, you gotta throw them real hard.
So Timgrim and them get to work, and then Humaner and you're downstairs showing. Keep
Yeah.
forgetting this gentleman's name.
David.
Davian.
Davian.
Davian. Yeah. Vasily and Irina and Ismark have retreated to like their kitchen area, and they're just talking there. And then Ismark sort of picks up that you guys are all working and helping, and he calls over for the other ones to see what they can do too. And it's now basically everybody but Dira and Minoran and Cairn, I guess, who is still downstairs near those vats.
So because I use the detect poison and disease as a ritual. Just kind of like I take a yew leaf and I put it in my mouth and I chew on it, and then like my eyes start to glow a little greenish, and I just look around and I just point at like each of the barrels as they're poisoned, and I say this one, this one, this one, this one, standard poisons, no diseases, and I walk into like all the houses with all the wine and just have them follow me and point everything out that is poisoned.
And you're saying something can be done?
I say yes. I kind of like put my head back, and then as it comes down, my eyes are like just completely normal again, and I look at him and I say, yes. When I pray to my God in the morning, I ask her to bestow upon me certain blessings. I didn't take the blessing needed to heal your wines. I only took a blessing that I thought could find disease. We weren't sure what kept you from delivering your wine, so I thought perhaps you were sick. I have other things to deal with the sickness that a person can encounter, but when dealing with healing food, it requires a different blessing, one that I don't usually ask for. So tomorrow in the morning, after I've done praying to my goddess and she has bestowed upon me the proper blessings, I can assist you.
Yes, he says. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, Weston, I'm not giving you a head massage.
I will cook us food. I did not anticipate any guests before we were attacked, obviously, but I believe Timgrim has some steaks
Yes.
for you I can fry up.
Some wolf steaks. They will be interesting. I haven't had them before.
Yeah, I'm still like hauling bodies back and forth, but,
Dragging them
well,
through.
Yeah, one time when I'm passing through, I guess someone calls out, and I just kind of drop the bodies for a second, walk over, and go through my bag for a pile of bodies. I'm sorry, a pile of steaks that were wrapped up in some cloth that I'd taken at the time. We had collected those from, and I hand them off to be prepared while I continue disposing of the bodies.
So yeah, Minoran, Dira, and Karen. While Minoran is explaining this to Davian here, you guys hear from upstairs like Timgrim say stuff like, "Grab her by her feet."
Who do you want that for, Hex?
No, we got to do this one too. This way it's easier.
Yeah,
Explaining
Whiplash
to
is the
these
only one
novices how
without
to properly
two.
drag a corpse outside.
And I'll move.
But since you did a player token, you can choose anybody you want.
You know, now that I think about it, we're all just really good at making and baking corpses.
Yep.
Yep. You Timgrim, you see you see Irina gotten distracted and she's talking with Vasily, and Vasily is sort of explaining using lots of hand gestures, how he handled the fight a certain way for it to come to that conclusion, and like he's showing her his sword and she's obviously smitten by the fella. But you know, it comes to an end when more work needs to be done, and they both start helping out.
That's good because I was about to have to say something there. Like, look, I mean, I'm
Minorum,
hauling bodies out of here. Like, I put the bodies here. If I need to take them out too, I better be getting help.
and when I'm alone with Minorum there, I just look at her and I say, Minorum, with all your blessings and connections to your deity, could you marry those two if you needed to? Could you give them the blessings that are needed?
Well, I could, Dira, but my people don't believe in polygamy. I would have to choose one of them to marry, and
Very
I don't
good.
know if now's the time to do that sort of thing.
Very good.
These are Minorin's most glorious moments.
Thank you, Minorum. Your wisdom once again prevails, Minorum. Thank you.
Yes, but besides, I don't think either of them would go for it. I mean, look at them. They're clearly very into each other.
Yes, you're right. I don't know what I was thinking, Minorum.
Don't worry, I'm sure we will both find suitable partners.
Well, good. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so you know, the smell of searing wolf steak fills your nostrils, and there's something in there too, like a spice, you know, that you didn't
Karen?
expect to grow in this land.
Karen, did
Don't
you put
blame
acid
me.
on it again? I told you mine was sans acid.
So, you know, you guys have a nice meal, and you find out that Vasily is quite charismatic as well, as he gives tales of some of his other exploits, where he fought a revenant, and you know the revenant evaporated before he was finished with him, and he's showing a scar that he has on his arm because of it. And, you know, he's a natural at captivating an audience, and captivates even some of you. You're kind of glad that you don't have to entertain so much tonight, because you know you guys all got your asses handed to you quite well last time. You were victorious, of course, but you know you're not at full HP. Some of you came really close to feeling lightheaded, if you know what I mean. So you know the evening comes to a conclusion, and
During dinner, I would like to try to talk up how Irina helped us fight on our way here to Vasily, and be like, you know, she is actually quite skilled with the sword, and when I saw her fighting the minions of Strahd, I myself nearly swooned. And then it's gonna like describe how she was very collected. Her sword movements were like very precise. She seemed to know her way around the blade, but she was almost dancing when she fought. And I'm gonna go ahead and do a performance to see how well I can tell the story. Give me help, Timgrim. Assist me with embellishments, or Dira.
Tim Grum's pretty attuned to Minoran at this point. You know, they've been battling alongside and conversing a fair bit, so he kind of picks up on what it is Minoran's trying to do, to express, like, oh yeah, when we were ambushed by those wolves on our way to Valaki, and how you know that Irina had no fear, just absolutely, in all the time that we've seen her, she has been harried by these monsters, and not once has she faltered. So Tim Rum's going to help him talk her up with that. It's clearly this is a person of character and a character of interest. A character of strength. So he's going to help Minoran talk her up.
And you succeed, Timgrim. Vasily, sits back in his chair, and makes glances at Irina while you're explaining this, and he said, "My lady, I should have never doubted your ability. What a tale indeed! What a tale indeed! I hope one day I get to witness your prowess." And she's just blushing, and she's trying to make you stop, Timgrim. She's like, don't no, she's trying to convey that you're embellishing.
I give her a sly thumbs up.
Timgrim just kind of smiles and nods it in her direction. And modest to boot.
And, Irina leans over to you, Minorin, and says, wow, sometimes I feel like I've known him forever, implying Vasily.
I say, when did you meet him?
Oh,
How long have you known him?
I've never met him, but my brother has. He has come to Barovia a few times from Valaki just to travel, Ismark said. But, I've never met him. This is the first time. But I feel like we have so much in common. He's such a nice man.
Yes. Well, I mean, if your brother likes him, then I'm sure he's a wonderful person, and he certainly knows his way around the blade, and he certainly seems to think highly of you. I had assumed that you had known him for a while. You were getting along so well. And I'm gonna do an insight roll on what's her Irina to just be like, she says she just met him, but she is acting like really flirty. Like, is she just tired? Does she actually really interested in him, or like I'm trying to figure out where it comes from? Like, I'd assume they were childhood friends and they just had a really good rapport, but the fact that they just met.
She looks a little starstruck.
Okay.
Girlish infatuation. I don't know what the offerings are in Barovia, but you've seen it at the court back home multiple times when a courtier is elevated to a different position, meets different people, and some of these meeting some of the paladins, some of these ladies are really starstruck by that. And you kind of get a sense that this is what's going on here.
Okay. And I just put my hand on her arm and say, just remember to breathe. He is a person, even if he is a handsome, charming, skilled person.
Yeah. So, Karen, what's going on? You're at the dinner table.
Well, so I was listening in, obviously,
Mhm.
trying to think of a good name for the new wine, but my map was totally screwed up. Like, I had a map that was overlaying this one, so I would
Yeah.
scroll, and then I tried to move my character to a spot where there was like a hole in the top map that I could see this map through as it like scrolled by. So I reloaded the whole game.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
And so I was just, I guess, with you the whole time. I just wasn't.
Yeah,
because my
that's it.
character token wasn't.
Okay. So, if you guys are okay with it, I'm going to let the evening pass from here.
Yep.
You guys will have your long rest.
I'm good.
Perfect.
I just
Okay.
wanted to make sure to wing woman for Irina, okay?
Yeah. Sounds good. Okay, so, Tim Grim, give me a D20 roll.
Yeah. I can D20 roll for him because he's gone to the bathroom.
Ah, okay. Yeah, you do it.
Oh, that was close.
It's fine.
Oh,
fine.
that was
So-
close.
It's not nothing.
So, everybody's what happened, those bunk beds to the north there, like upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
You guys got a whole room like that, the four of you, for yourselves. And the Mardikovs figured out a different place to have the children sleep. But before you go to bed, Davian Mardikov wants to know if Cairn has discovered an idea for what he'd like to name it.
Yeah, I think I've thought of something.
What will it be, my friend?
My thought was the dragon's return.
Ah,
It
yes. a
symbolizes
fine
me
name.
returning to my family, and it symbolizes your wine returning to your country.
What a fine name indeed. He says, yes, yes.
Okay, so you guys go to bed, and you roll a 10 there, Minorin, and you wake up at like 2 in the morning, just from the sounds of some crows cawing, basically in that room where the vats are. They're still upstairs there on the, there were crows there before. They're still there if you look on the map.
Yep.
But they're just crows, and you kind of listen intently for a while, and this place was under attack yesterday. Is it under attack again? But everything is peaceful. You go up to a window, you look outside. There's fog outside, but based on what you can see, everything is okay. You go back to bed, Minorin, and before you do, you check again to see if Karen's still in his bed, and he is.
I was going to say, like when I hear other
That's
people
funny.
waking up because of the crows, I was going to say, don't worry.
Yeah, those aren't our horses, unfortunately, Hex.
Like I was about to say it.
Do you need to go molt?
No, he's fine.
I just bless you, small one.
That's another lie that
And
we
the rest
tell
of the
Minoran.
evening passes quite uneventfully. And the morning comes, and it has a briskness in the air.
And we already
It's
ran
slightly
into them.
cooler than it was yesterday. And you guys
We
wake
ran
up
into
to the
them, and
sounds
they're
of
not ours.
a
It
happy
was a couple
family
streams ago.
sort
I think the
of,
one you missed.
convalescing in their kitchen. So you hear it from like the next wall, and it's a wall next to you, and they're obviously having breakfast and chatting, and they're elated. And as you guys walk into the kitchen to tell them good morning and all that stuff, Irina, Ismark, and Vasily are already there drinking some kind of morning potion that makes you more alert and awake in the morning. It's a curious concoction.
I like the sounds of it. I'll take a liter.
they call it coffee, so it's kind of a weird potion. But yes, so Davian Mardukov walks up to you, Karen, and says, I really want you to see this. I told you I had one bottle stashed away somewhere before you left to clear this place from its enemies. This is the bottle. I took the label off, and I worked all night on a new one. And like on the label is this beautiful black dragon that sort of represents you, Karen. It says the dragon's return in beautiful lettering on there. And he says, surely the quality of the wine I will produce from the grapes that are growing outside will be just as good, if not better, than this batch. I want you to have it. It's the last bottle.
I'll accept it and just say thank you. I'm honored. And I'm just glad that we solved some kind of mystery.
One down,
So you get
500 to go.
500 mysteries.
Yeah, 500
You can-
mysteries to go.
You can add, premium wine. The dragon returns to your
Premium
inventory.
wine.
Oh yeah, it's quite. I mean, you don't know, but legend has it. Everybody's been telling you that this best batch of wine that they are able to produce is quite some. You can see Timgrim sort of eyeing your bottle there and smacks his lips a little.
Don't worry, Scruffy one. I'll share some.
Much obliged.
Oops, out of credits.
You don't
I
have
was
to do
afraid
that.
you'd
Just
never
let him.
ask.
You're a sub and the $5. Thank you so much. You don't have to do that, X. You're awesome just for being here.
Honestly, the glass bottle is probably more expensive than the wine is because I read the entire book and I have yet to see a glass maker.
Actually, in
You guys cleared an area. Which
Who would
is,
you like?
A glass blowing
Min,
shop.
you got it.
Downstairs, south of where the vats were. Yeah. You came back upstairs.
I'll let him know that
through
you
it
said that.
From the basement.
I think do I see it on the map? Is that what's below us?
Yeah, it's this.
Yeah,
this
that.
area.
Yeah, those are bottles, aren't they?
Yeah, that's a
And that's
glass
that's a
blowing
forge,
shop.
and yeah, that is a glass blowing shop. Interesting.
Yeah. So
Just a little step out here. Frethen, for your performance of Minrin around that, whole marrying someone, my chat gave you a +1 for that. They just thought that was an unbelievable performance. So just
Dad
they
jokes.
gave you a +1.
Win again.
I swear, only Fredden can pull that off. It's
Anyone can pull it off. Even you. I have.
Thank you. Sorry for stepping out there.
that's such a Fredden thing to say. It's unbelievable. All right. So you guys have your little brekkie there. There's not much to go on, but you have what you need. You're all fully rested. You're at full health. All your hit die have returned. All your spell slots have been filled. You guys are 100% top notch in order and ready to go.
Music
No more
to my
spitting blood.
ears, man.
Yep. We don't need to roll hit dice.
I know.
overnight,
I
we just
clicked it
heal
by
up.
accident. I was trying to click it upwards and I hit the word by accident.
I saw Minner and
And
rolled
it's
a
like, we
D10.
haven't rolled in a while.
I
gotta do this.
I gotta roll.
He's like a gambler at Las Vegas. He's got to roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to roll.
So, I guess, like I've already requested my blessings. I guess it's some part of my prayer I do before eating. Before coming down, it's kind of like you wake up, you put your armor on, you say your blessings. So I go up to Davian and say, I'm ready. I can purify the wines, and it's just the 4 vats, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I say this may take about an hour's worth of time.
Okay.
But that's So
So-
purify food and drink.
I want you to describe like the initial preparation of this ritual. What would people in this establishment see you do as you prepare for this?
Okay, so it says a 5-foot radius sphere centered on a point of your choice within range. So that
Mhm.
would be like, I'm gonna assume that I can just hit each of the vats once with it. But the
Yeah.
preparation is like, because it's a verbal and it's somatic, but it requires no components. So it's just I just stand in front of the vat and I kind of like loosen my shoulders a bit, and then I put my hands on the vat and I turn my head up to the sky a bit, and I speak in Celestial, and I basically plead to Prashana, like, Prashana, grant me the power to purify this food and drink so that these fair people can partake of their efforts without fear of poison or disease. And then my eyes glow the same kind of like sea green color, almost like a little bit smoky comes out of it, and I just the power wells up from within me, and salty goodness goes into the wine vat.
Oh boy.
And I do this, I guess, 4 times. for each
Okay.
vat.
So as you're doing this, people walk in and out, but Davian is carefully watching you. And then Vasily walks in too, and he hears the mention of Persana, and he's really interested. So while you're just doing some preparation and the moving of things, he asks you about Persana, and he says, "Persana, who is this? Is this a god of yours?"
I look at him and say, yes, I used to be surprised when people didn't know Prashana, but she's a goddess of my people, the Triton people. All worship Persana as our sovereign deity. She is the only goddess we worship. She is a benevolent goddess who believes in civilization and good. She tells us to go forth and bring prosperity and fight the evils of the depths, and for her we build great edifices and cities in her name while maintaining the order and safety of the depths. I think she's also...
He seems very interested in the subject, and then he's grateful for your explanation. And then he asks, do you communicate with this entity? Can you hear Persana's voice? How do you know Persona
Sorry, how do I know Persona
is there?
Let's see. Well, do you have a father or a mother?
Of course.
They're not with
I
you.
mean-
How do you know they're there?
I see what you mean. Yes,
and it's the same with Persona for the Triton people. Ever since we were a young race, she has guided us. She has taught us right from wrong. She has told us how to keep safe the other denizens of our plains, and we follow her teachings, even though she may not always walk with us. And certainly in Barovia, I will say that she has felt more distant than at any other point in my life, even locked within that sunless citadel for a month in chains. I was still able to sustain myself on her blessings, but regardless of whether or not she is strongly with me, I know that she still walks by my side.
That is remarkable. And he lets you work. He doesn't interrupt you further. But him, along with Davian, they observe you go through these rituals. It's obviously something new to them that they've never seen before.
I remember that the Morning Lord has been mostly abandoned here.
Yeah. And the husband of Stefania there, Dag, he's preparing the cart, sort of in the loading area, tightening the ropes on it, and getting the horses out from the stable and everything like that. So an hour passes, and Minorin has gone through each of these vats, purifying and through infusions from her god, sort of neutralizing the poisons that were put in there by the druids. And it's now entirely drinkable again, and there are many vats of red dragon crunch here, ready to be barreled and shipped out to different locations. And Davian is just beyond himself. He says, yes, now I can deliver shipments again to my son in the Blue Water Inn in Vallaki, and to Barovia even, and the valley will flood with the wine again, and the people's spirits will be up.
There's one person I'd like you, for all of our work, not to ship to, if you'd consider it. Maybe don't ship to Strahd. Don't ship to Strahd.
Oh, don't worry. This place has not shipped to Strahd for many centuries.
I'm glad to hear that.
Well, did we tell Davian that the reason that one of the reasons we came here was because Erwin and his wife wanted us to check on him?
No, you've said you've met your brother, his son.
Okay, so I'll share that with them. I'll say, Davian, by the speaking of delivering to Erwin, I don't know what happened between you two, or why you may have some discord between you, but Erwin and his wife were concerned for your well-being when your shipments had stopped. So, I thought I'd mention that you were on their minds, and they bid us come here as well to see if you were safe.
Well, I'm sure you can imagine how relationships can sour between a parent and its child.
Of course.
I guess it was similar. I guess it was similar for us.
a misunderstanding, I think, when the stone disappeared 4 years ago. But I will reach out to him now and see if we can make amends.
I pray you will.
All right. So, the cart is ready to leave if you guys are.
Oh, let's go north.
I say let's
head
do
to
it.
Krezk, yeah.
All right. So it's gonna be Dag on the cart, and just you guys, and then obviously everybody is walking. Arena is marked.
And I will, instead of taking the cart, I will say a prayer to Persona and summon a steed.
Ugh, more damn horses.
Better than horses. Sea horses!
The giant tuna.
It'd be funny if they just flopped around on the ground because we're not in the ocean.
Hang on.
Giant seahorses just flopping around.
Wait. I could have anticipated this moment because Fred and I
Yeah,
talked about it
We did talk about it. I wasn't
quite a
sure
while
about
back.
that. Yeah.
Let me put up a picture.
That is cool.
That is one of the more hideous things. And I'm a dragonborn. That is.
You can't unsee that.
Yeah, so Minoran uses magic to summon forth this steed. It's run me an inside check, everybody that's not Minoran.
Whopping 10. Nice.
Okay. Sort of. Karen has 13. Okay, Karen, you kind of look at this creature, and you
Based upon my
suspect
knowledge
that.
of tails.
Yeah, but you suspect you know what fish are like, so you definitely recognize the back end of it and the front end. You've never seen such a thing before, but its front legs are standing on the ground and its back tail is sort of just hovering in the sky, and you suspect that on land that is the case, and in water it must be different altogether. Its front legs must not get much use, and the tail does all the work. So it's an amphibious sort of,
Like
mount.
like a Subaru with all-wheel drive.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, Minoran, you get on that thing and grab it by the by the fin, I guess.
Oh, I just reach. Maybe I can just sit calmly. It must be well trained. And I name him or her Reef the Second.
Reef the Second. The creature flares its nostrils and lets out a big grunt the way horses do. I don't know what that is called, that kind of thing. And you guys can see the smoke, the mist sort of coming from its breath in the cold morning air. It is now 9:30 in the morning or something like that, and you guys start making your way to Krezk. And as you guys come across let me go to here, town of Valaki. Gotta jump you guys across.
I love how we just travel through cities like this.
I just warp. I wish there was an easier way. If somebody knows of an easier way to switch to a specific map without having, because I don't know if you guys know the UI that I have, but I have this giant bar on the top of my screen with all the maps
and there's horizontal scrolling, but it goes on and on and on because I have like 500 maps here, and there's this little players. Like I can control what I see and what you see, so I can click on a map and see it, but you guys can only see it if I drag the player's label to that map. So if I want to do that, I can only drag it to the edge of my screen because I can't both drag that thing and scroll at the same time. Because when I move it to the edges, it doesn't scroll. So I have to put you on a map, drag you, and then, do it like that.
Yeah, if there's any Roll20 experts out there. In
Yeah, let me know.
Chatland. Yeah.
So I'll wait a second for Karen to come. I think he's taking a 5-minute break there.
No.
Yeah.
About 10 seconds.
All good. Cool. So you guys come at this intersection, and it's go to Krezk, or go east. And this is where Vasily chimes in again and says, I've been thinking about this, and I've come to grow quite fond of Irina here, and I'm concerned for her safety. I think she would be in much better care in a more populated village than Krezk is. You guys know, like 50 people live in Krezk. They may have stone walls, but surely, Izek is none of your concern. I will deal with him. Surely in my mansion, Irina will be much safer.
I'll run an insight check on him if I can. To see, like...
He seems to be speaking.
And
For Tim
he says, Irina, why don't you come with me? Don't you feel safe with me? And you can see that, like she's into the idea, but she has a lot of respect for you guys, and you can see that she's torn and she's looking at you guys for guidance.
Perhaps a more populous city could defend against Strahd's minions if it were assaulted directly, but the more hands, the more potential for spies as well. I did not get a good. I'm sorry if it causes you offense, Vasily, but I must tell you, I did not feel so safe within Vallaki itself, even ourselves. Perhaps you'd be better off helping to protect her in Krezk. We know there are problems there as well. We look to deal with, but those high walls would count for something.
Indeed.
Okay.
And there's
So-
a monastery in Krezk to take into account as well. Even though it is currently cursed, should we free it of a curse?
We might learn important information about
Yes.
how to combat Strahd. This
And-
the Abbey of St. Markovia could prove invaluable to find
Holy
out.
places are often able to
Hmm.
dissuade evil visitors, right?
So Dira just cast the spell.
Yep.
Yep.
So tell me what happens.
So, go ahead, Whip.
So what do we do here? Because I don't know the spell by heart.
Yeah.
Is the
So-
creature...
So it's almost at 2 layers if you read that. The first layer, when I first cast it, I understand kind of surfacey what's going on. And then again, if I let it continue, I really get down to the thought level.
Okay, but do we roll some kind of
Only if he tries to probe deeper. Just as an action, you can kind of think about like the surface thoughts. What is most on his mind at the moment. So like, for instance, if we were to, if Vasily wanted Irina to come to his house, then maybe we're, seeing what a young man might think when he's trying to invite a beautiful Irina into his house. And then if
So-
you probe deeper, it would be a saving throw.
So, do I say sentences that he's thinking, or do I give emotion, or how does this
It's up
work?
to you. It could be like, if he's just really angry, you might be like, yeah, you just like sense
Yeah.
anger.
It's
But if he's, thinking about, okay, you might see like flashes in his mind of like wine and a safe Irina kind of thing, right?
yeah. You
Like, it's
initially
up to
learn. You initially learn the surface thoughts of the creature and what is most on its mind in that moment.
Yeah. But I mean, how that interprets, it could interpret either
Right.
way, into emotions.
Correct.
It could interpret into
Correct.
images. It's up to you, right?
I just googled the two words surface thoughts, and it's like the first 17 suggestions from Google are like D&D players going, "What does it mean? Surface thoughts?"
See our streams.
Okay, so a surface thought can be described in one word, and I would say his thoughts are. Let me think. Power. That's
That's
Dira's surface thoughts.
Dira
Actually,
is. Let me. That's a light. Dira's definitely starting to question this guy, for sure.
he his surface thoughts are frustration, but you wouldn't say that's what was going on when you looked at his.
And I'm gonna continue to let this probe, but I want to see if I can feel his or detect his reaction when I say the next thing.
Okay.
Vasily, again, I know you care for her. I've seen the way that you look at her. Come to Krezk with us and help to protect her there. Krezk is the answer.
And then you probe deeper, and that is a contention?
Yeah, so first I'd like to know kind of his surface reaction to that, and then I want to probe deeper.
Yeah, but you had a surface reaction, right?
All right, then I'll probe deeper.
Yeah. So, probing deeper, how does this work?
You make a wisdom
If you
saving
probe deeper,
throw.
a wisdom saving throw. Okay, let me give Azilia a wisdom saving throw.
Come on, one. I want this to work. Hasn't worked yet.
Nice.
And
So
I
what
have
do
to
you
meet,
think?
what, 15 or whatever?
Yeah, 15 is my my spell save DC.
Okay. So it fails, you gain insight into its reasoning and its emotional state. Something that looms large in his mind. Something it worries over, loves, or hates. Okay. So he really wants Irina. Like a lust that has gone on for a long time. He would really like her to come with him. He's really infatuated with her, even though he tries to hide it very carefully. And there's a lot of frustration there that you guys are getting in between that.
Okay.
And obviously, only you know this, Dira.
Yep.
And you don't have a lot of time here to mind talk an entire piece of context. Like, this is an ongoing conversation, right?
Okay.
Also,
yes.
as a point of order here, the moment you probe deeper, pass or fail on that save, Vasily knows you've just probed his mind.
Ah, okay.
Right? Either way, The target
How
knows
is
that you
that?
are probing into its mind, and unless you shift your attention to another creature's thoughts, the creature can use its action on its turn to make an intelligence check contested by your intelligence check. If it succeeds, the spell ends.
Okay, so Vasily is gonna do that.
And so I have to roll an intelligence check against this?
Yep.
Yeah.
Roll
And that's-
intelligence. Not save, a
Not
check.
save,
But yes.
check.
Did I do that right? No, I clearly did not.
Run an
Hold on.
intelligence save.
It's-
And I use my
it's-
+1.
Uh-huh.
No, it's not a save. You don't need to do a save. You
Yeah,
just
no,
do a
I
check.
still
So
lose. I still lose.
and I lost a +1.
Yes. Goodbye, +1 for whip.
And you can see that Vasily knows that you know. And he
Okay.
sort of regains his composure and takes a deep breath.
I
Like,
quickly.
okay,
I'm going-
he says.
Go ahead, Whip.
So in realizing that you picked his mind and he has revealed this, intimate, private sort of state of mind to you, he is more focused now on keeping up appearances. And, he says to Timgrim, who just made the argument, basically, that, you guys really want to go to Krezk. He says, okay. You make a compelling point, of course. Sadly, my friends, this is where I must take my leave and head back to Vallaki. Business demands me there, as I'm sure you can understand.
What business? Why must you leave us? If you truly care for her, accompany us further. We could use the help.
And he puts his hand on your shoulder, obviously cranky with you, Dira. Says, nobleman's business. I'm sure you
Darkness.
understand. So as he touches you, you feel a lot of darkness. But what does it mean? You don't know. And then he lets go of you, Dira, of course. And he says, well, my friends, then this is where I bid my farewell. And he goes over to Irina and he says, Irina, it was a real pleasure meeting you. And then he leans over and whispers something in her ear, and she lets it happen. And you, Karen, you stand the closest, and you can run a perception check.
Alrighty.
And you don't quite make out what he says. And, he straightens his plate mail. And
Karen?
whistles. Whistles like, something like that. And from the woods, from some direction, comes a steed. And you guys are a little bit surprised at this, but, stranger things have happened. And he gets on the steed. And, if you want to interrupt me, feel free, eh? I mean, because
Yeah.
he's going to leave, so...
I'm gonna talk to.
So,
Karen
yeah,
here.
while this is happening, okay, I'll let you do your thing.
Do me a favor. Flirt with Irina. Trust me.
So that's a pretty strange request. That is probably the weirdest thing he must have heard.
Sorry.
So
Just threw up in
I
my
want
mouth
you
a
to
little bit.
pretend, Zero. I want you to pretend like you don't know any of this. Of course, anything that Dira knows, you don't know that. So, please.
Also, I'm thinking, Whiplash, is if you had a love theme on the playlist right now, that's what we need.
Yeah. 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 I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
That's right.
I've been feeling fine for so long now. Trying to hold back these
Karen.
feelings for so long. Okay, fine.
Karen, I want to see.
Being
I wanna
a
see.
being a
I want
Go
to
ahead.
see. I want to see Vasily's reaction. He likes her. I want to try to get him to stay if he thinks you're a threat. And that's it, because I know it has to be real quick, so I'm done there.
Okay. Quickly, as I walk away, I kind of loudly say, "Hey, Irina, we haven't talked much yet before. Do you know much about lizard anatomy?" Out of game. Hideous. Maybe should have chosen someone else.
Lizard anatomy, says Arena.
Be
Yeah,
careful.
lizard anatomy.
moles.
You know, kind of how all of our
What do you-
how all of our body parts fit together and how everything works. You know, it's
Offer
kind of
her
interesting, right?
pancakes. Offer her pancakes.
Please, says
Would you
Arena.
like to get some pancakes together sometime? I hear they make some great Egyptian ones.
You can give me a persuasion roll, I guess.
Okay, I just want to point out, if you guys on the stream can't hear it, very quietly in the background, I'm going to turn it up on my Spotify real quick.
Nice.
Phil Collins in the Air Tonight is playing in the background.
I'm turning it up too.
And there's like doves singing it from the rafters. I am really sexy about these pancakes, you guys.
Well, says Arena, sure, Karen, I guess, as a friend? And you can see her sort of squint and furrow her eyebrows and not
Maybe
sure
as-
what to think in this.
Maybe as close friends. Put my arm just kind of on her back a little bit and just say, you're a fighter of your prowess is something that I admire greatly. And, perhaps we could share some stories over a nice tall stack. And I'll even share this wonderful wine that I was given. It was named after me, believe it or not.
Can't take this.
So
You
can
did
give me
this.
another persuasion roll.
Yeah, you've done this to yourself.
Using a +1. I said that before I saw the number. It's a 12.
Says, Karen, I'm not sure what's coming over you. And she sort of, you can tell right away, Karen, that she feels a little bit embarrassed for you in this moment.
I don't know, Irina. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's very difficult to tell when a Dragonborn is blushing, and you've made me blush a few times with some of your, fighting exploits and things like that. I just wanted to show my appreciation in any way that I could.
Well, if the opportunity presents itself, Karen, I would love to have pancakes with you, yes.
Oh,
And
great.
she sort of agrees with you, and you can tell that
Hold
it's
on.
just to try and make it end.
Can I make a sleight of hand check to slide my hand around her shoulder really stealthily? Like a guy would do at a movie theater, one of these yawns, puts his arms up around the girl. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay, give me a
That
sleight
would
of
be
hand
a
check.
Stealth check?
All right,
I don't
sleight of
know.
hand check.
I love that you put all so tall.
Okay, hang on. Yeah, okay.
You should have used your +1. You get 2 more.
So you successfully
Oh, Jesus.
slide your hand around Irina's shoulder, and Vasily.
Can I? Okay, so I want to do another thing. And this is completely off topic, but I want to do the same thing with my tail, but around her waist a little bit. But is that a sleight of hand check, or
Yeah.
tail's not a hand?
Well, it's the same kind of thing,
Okay,
right?
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know a little bit more about Dragonborn anatomy than
Sleight of
Talk about
hand
the-
applies.
talking about
to,
Min
like,
is getting a
more,
little jealous.
You know, if you're just doing it sneaky like that's sleight of hand, right?
Minoran's over
Doesn't
this,
need to
"Wish
be
you would do that to
hands.
me.
You know, you can do some footsie stuff in there with sleight of hand too. It's
Yeah,
not a
so
big
can I
deal.
make another sleight of hand check with the tail, kind of doing that around? And just talking loudly in the hopes that, I guess in the hopes that this guy on the horse looks back. I can't express to you guys how much my character hates this, just so you know. He's not a people dragon in the first place.
Yeah. Give me the roll.
All right. I'm going to use a +1. I still have 1 after this.
Yeah. You successfully do this.
Jesus, 22.
And you're carefully watching Vasily, and he's taking note of this happening. And you can see the frustration give way in the features of his face. And he's really, really upset. And he points his face at Irina and says, "Ah! Enough, Tatiana!" And he kicks his horse. And yeah! And he orders his horse to ride, and he rides off east, back towards Falaki.
You said enough, Tatiana?
Yes.
Karen, you get a +1 from my chat for that.
I like how there's a teddy bear smacking your forehead on your stream there, Karen.
Yeah, so
Whatever that was.
Whenever somebody subs to my channel, it does a face mask of some sort. I don't know how to turn it off at this point, so it just happens every time. Oh,
Oh my
And I
God,
just-
what's funny as hell.
I'm going to be visibly annoyed and just unravel myself from Irina and just step several steps away and just kind of like look at her like this. Sorry.
And her eyes are really wide. And she's really confused.
So am I. Oh my-
Tatiana.
I can't
So,
stop laughing.
A
wasn't-
deadening, awkward silence falls across the room. Can I just?
Yes.
Silence once more returns to the room.
Silence once more returns to the forest.
And maybe I'll just kind of compose myself, being fairly charismatic, and I'll walk back to Irina and just kind of put my hand gruffly on her shoulder because she seems to be the warrior type, and just say, "I'm sorry. I'm not sure what came over me. I had a little voice in my head. I would share a stack of pancakes with you. You're a great fighter." And just pat, and then I'll walk away. And maybe we'll try to persuade her that I'm not insane.
Okay.
That actually
Yeah,
counts.
and you succeed at that. All right. I gotta take a 5-minute break.
Yep, let's take 5 minutes,
Ah,
everybody. Oh my God, I gotta go. My stomach is killing me. 0. Thanks for doing that.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe you made me do that.
Thank you.
Be right
Step-
back, guys.
Thing.
Five
Swap
minutes,
some
I'll be
war
right back.
stories over a stack. Terrible. I'll be right back too.
All right, everybody. That was clearly one of the funniest things that we've had happen on channel. Just super, super funny. It's why I love playing the game with this crew. The roleplay you get out of this group is just top notch. So, that was funny. That was funny. Yeah, right, Hex. I and the funny thing is the stuff that Zero was able to work in, like the pancake thing, that was from 4 streams ago. You know, just the stuff that he's bringing back in to the game over and over and over was funny. Oh my god! You know, because we were in a shop and I was talking about Egyptian thread count. So, you know, all of a sudden he drops the Egyptian pancakes in there, and just hilarious. But I do think we got a huge bit of information that we still need to explore. So while it was funny, I was able to get the guy frustrated enough that he yelled, "Enough, Tatiana." Well, Tatiana's not her name. So, Hex, you actually might be right about him being a vampire spawn, or something evil. You may rewrite again. You called the poison in the wine. You may be right here that something's a little off with this guy. Because why is he calling her Tatiana? Right? So this is going to be really, really interesting to find out. I mean, we just, while it was hilarious, just figured out a ton of important information. So in this break, what is everybody thinking, chat? What are you thinking of what you're seeing tonight kind of on this break? And what do you think? I think it's funny as hell.
Hello.
Some of us are back.
Ah, okay.
I'm here as well.
Still can't believe you made me do that.
You know, just talking to our streams, Zero, that was fabulous, man. That was fabulous. Incredibly funny. I had tears. I couldn't even read, Karen. Zero. I couldn't read.
I think it's funny. Theoden mentioned, I think he's been bouncing between our chats, probably said, let's just hope nobody made video of you seducing Irina and won't post it on Barovia's social media.
Right? I mean, that could be a
problem.
And
in my head, I'm like, okay, the D&D community is very, very, like, dedicated. There might be a Barovia, like, Facebook page somewhere.
Right, exactly.
There's guaranteed.
So I'm kind of concerned about that, actually.
I mean, Minoran, but on the note of the stuff we just heard about, Minoran had a pretty good observation and a recognition of one of the names that was used. I don't know if you guys picked up
Tatiana.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to explore that when we get back. My chat is saying, Hex in my chat is saying, he's thinking to himself, breathe, because his gut hurts from laughing so hard. I mean, that was just brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to have to put a stream marker and go back and maybe clip that or highlight that. That was a long, I slide on over. How about Egyptian pancakes? Zero.
There's a lot of
We can swap war stories over a nice stack. How many times have you been flirted with, and the opening line was, "Let me tell you about Dragonborn anatomy"? That might work at a cosplay convention,
right? It might. You never know. You might never know where that gets you.
I want to talk about Dragonborn anatomy.
Oh, I think we got a huge bit of information there. You know, just as salty goodness.
I mean, we learned how Dragonborn flirt, and we learned how not to flirt.
Right? I mean, there was part of it that was a little bit creeper, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, she seemed sort of into it.
Maybe.
She seemed like it looked like she was like, I shouldn't be into this, but I kind of have to be because he's
You know what
being
this-
very persuasive.
You know what? The sad part is, with In the Air at night playing in the background, that's all going to be muted in our
Maybe.
VODs. That's all
If
gonna
our
be
voices
muted.
if our voices cover up enough of it, it might be okay.
Okay,
we'll see.
it might be me laughing in the background. It's enough. Yeah, I think we uncovered a. Who the hell is Tatiana? We gotta find that out.
We've heard about her before, actually.
Yeah.
We have.
Yeah. Tatiana.
that was,
Strahd's old lover.
That's right.
It's kind of interesting that that this seemingly entirely different person would be staring at Irina, saying that, and then heading off into the night.
The plot thickens. That's.
I mean, I'm feeling a little bit safer about the fact that he departed us.
Yeah, right. I wasn't sure which way to go.
I'm definitely have to sleep with one eye open now. Either he might try to kill me, or Irina might try to climb in bed with me. I'm not sure.
I
Right.
mean, okay, so one thing about persuasion, like succeeding on a persuasion roll will just make someone more pliable. They're not going to do something they wouldn't do anyways, right? It's like even if you crit, it doesn't make
See?
the impossible possible.
She was into you.
No,
I think it's I mean,
I made it very clear that she agreed to pancakes to make the awkwardness go away.
No, Whip. She was into him. Let us live in the moment, Whip. Don't ruin it for us.
Okay.
Hold on.
This is the beginning of a beautiful relationship.
Right.
Really.
Hold
I tell
on.
you what,
Irina and Karen ride off into the sunset, and Karen rides on the back of her horse, obviously, because he doesn't know how to ride horses.
yeah, clearly.
I know you've been asking me to get a webcam, Phineas,
Yeah.
but I'm glad I didn't have one because
Why?
you would have seen me lose my shit and accidentally knock my glass of port all over my desk.
Oh no!
Again?
Yes,
Oh no!
yes. So it's like, guys, I need 5 minutes.
Foozle Killer in my chat asks, "What is your Dragonborn safe word, just in case?"
Foozle, what's going on?
What's up, Foos?
How the heck are you? It's so
We
great
all
to
remember
see
you.
Of course, Foozle. What is up? What's going on?
Or
how have you been?
Oh,
Whip remembers
Here's my
you.
microphone.
Of course.
There, click that multi-stream link, Foos, and you can swap between me and Phineas's chats, and you can chat with him too. It's really easy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Heck says Whiplash is the real MVP. My gosh,
no
Foozle,
kidding.
I hope you're doing well. It's great to see you.
My Dragonborn safe word is
Pancakes.
it is now. I don't know. I'll think of something.
I loved how quickly on that, and I know we're kind of out of mode here, but you were like, and I use a +1.
I had to. I was like, I got to make this work. And it was like I said that about 2 milliseconds before the numbers
did.
showed up on my
You
screen.
really did.
All right.
Oh gosh, that's funny.
Too good.
So tell me, Vasily rode off. He's cranky.
That's cranky, Mr. Cranky
Yep.
Pants.
I think
crowbar is
as
my safe word.
he rides off, like after screaming "Enough, Tatiana," and rides off, like Benarin was up there, like saying goodbye to him. Right? I think I emoted that during their little thing, but like, cause he said, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna leave," and Benarin was just like, "All right, yeah, cool. You know, if you ever find yourself in need of a paladin, I can be at your service." And then he's like, "Enough, Tatiana," and I just like share a look with Timgrim of concern, like. Did I just hear the word right? Like,
That's not the first time we've heard that name.
yeah, and his look towards Irina, like the infatuation with him as well, is kind of like striking another chord now. That's a little bit, you know.
Maybe
Disturbing?
maybe we feel a little bit concerned at the fact that we were trying to be the wingman for.
Just watch him go, and I move over to Timgrim and say, "Tatiana, do you
What was
know who that is? Do you remember? I remember hearing it before."
I believe that was the name of the old love of our dear Strahd himself, actually. there's something that doesn't sit right about that Vasily character.
I was certain he was a good man. I mean, he fought those beasts, but maybe his showing up at such a convenient time. I mean, you usually don't get the fortune of reinforcements showing up at the same time as an ambush.
This is true. It's also interesting that he was able to hold off so many beasts without taking any serious injuries himself. An apt fighter, certainly, but
Maybe we should.
most-
They said Ismark. Irina said Ismark knew him well. Perhaps we should speak with him later.
Isn't Irina and Ismark standing right here, and we're talking
Yes.
about them like they're not here?
Well, no. So I moved over to Timgrim. I'm not like
Oh,
shouting
okay.
from across
Okay.
the road. Hey, Timgrim! About that Vasily guy. You sure Ismark is such a good word on how great he is? I mean, I don't know. You know, I like Irina and all that, but she could be a little bit dumb sometimes.
Stream marker put down for that one.
But
So-
no, I'm just like leaning over, whispering with him, and then we just kind of come back to the group. I guess. I don't know.
Ismark says, I don't know what he meant with Tatiana, but Vasily is not Strahd. Now, I have seen Strahd when he attacked my sister. He's a monster. Yes, he's human, but his features are completely different. And Vasily, I've known him for a few years now. He comes into town every so often, does some local trade and moves on.
Does he
How could it?
talk to Irina when he's with you? When he came to Barovia? Did he make it a point? Think back.
No. He has not met Irina, to my knowledge. Irina, have you met Vasily before? And she says, no, just when he approached us coming down north from the road when we were with Davian and in his camp was the first time I ever met this man. But I do wonder, it's like I've always known him. He was such a nice man.
That could be a form of magic. Could it not?
Certainly.
I
It's
don't know
charming.
much about magics, but it's
Well,
cause
she
to be wary, at least.
She hugs herself for a moment in the briskness
Karen.
of the cool air. And Ismark takes note of this and says, perhaps we should move on. Krezk is still a little ways away.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Let's get out of here.
Let's go have some pancakes.
Let me see here. How do I minimize this? In like knocking everything over on my desk, I accidentally minimized this
700.
multi-stream thing. Hang on. F11 did it. Okay.
Hex in my chat just said, never going to be able to eat pancakes again.
No, we've already been in that location for 2 weeks. Not being able to eat pancakes without thinking of E&D.
Okay.
Are Egyptian pancakes better, or are they just sandy?
Gritty.
I just worry about like the 800th
Well-
pancakes.
You know,
It's not gonna be tasty.
Stephanie and I were making the bed earlier with the new bed sheets we got, and I'm like unpacking them, and I go, Egyptian thread count.
See how it, and I still go to Mrs. Typical Phineas and go, would you like to go for a long rest?
D&D changed us forever.
That's right.
Okay. So you guys move on to Krezk, or what do you do?
Yeah. So we head on up there. Tim Grum's a little bit more convinced that this is the right choice after Vasily's leaving. the way he
All right.
the horse from nothing. And,
I can hear the snow plowers outside
Yeah.
through your microphone.
yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, look, it was the Vistani. I remember the
All right,
Vistani.
time to go to church. Time to go to Valaki.
Yeah, if there are any Roll20 experts out there that can help a GM out.
All right.
Back to the scene of the crime.
So the rest of your trip passes uneventfully, and it's I want to say noon when you guys arrive back at the gates of Krezk. There's no guards on top this time.
Figures.
Are there any guards anywhere? Are the gates just there?
The gates are like, they're the gatehouses. If you scroll down, there's a picture of it
Mm-hmm.
there. There's some, what are those cracks in a tower called? They have a name.
Murder holes.
Yeah, murder holes.
Murder holes. Yeah, there's some murder holes there. Yeah.
Guess I'll approach on reef, and I bring the butt of my halberd up, and I just dunk on the gate.
All right. So, a minute passes or so, and a guard peeks his head above the battlement there on top of the gate across. It says, "Oh, it's you guys again. And you brought wine."
Yes. It's us again, with wine.
Ah! Wait! I'm gonna get them to open the gate.
I wonder
Thank
if
you.
Lord,
Thank
I wonder
you,
if Lord Krezk is still here.
Yeah.
Krezk. Do you know someone who lives here? Was that his
He-
name? Was his name actually Krezk?
Yes. Lord Krezk.
Yes, it was.
Baron of Krezk. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Baron of Krezk is Lord Krezk.
Okay. So after another minute or so, the gates crack open, and the sounds that are associated with it. And before you see, outside of the walls to the south of you, down the hill, there is forest, yes, around the roads and stuff. But as the door opens, you guys get a view of Krezk that is sort of on a little plateau. And then you see more, in more detail than before, the Abbey of Saint Markovia that you've heard reference of on top of the hill, right before the slopes really go up the mountain. But there's a winding path of the village of Krezk here, and you guys see cottages here and there. And it immediately becomes clear to you that this is a community that, as you walk in and you look around, that this is a community that is made to survive on its own. You see some chickens running around. You see some pigs in pens, and you see evidence that some of the trees that grow here all around have been chopped down, and that little trees, saplings are growing out again. So it really looks like these people don't have to go outside. They found a way to keep their population, small, and to sort of survive within the confines of these walls. And from a distance, as you approach this square here, the Burgermeister that you met before, a man that you can now see is about as tall as Minoran is, but maybe 3 times as wide, if you catch my meaning. Bald head, but a little bit of a beard, and he sort of comes over at you and says, good to see you again. I really apologize for turning you away before, but
I can't just let everybody in. Allies of Strahd, enemies of Strahd. It's sure to catch his attention, and we haven't been attacked for years, and I don't want to draw that kind of attention. So, but you've brought wine.
Of course.
Our people haven't had wine for a while now. I don't know how I can repay you. I must apologize. And
Oh.
you guys can run me an insight check also.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, Tim
Very
Grimm.
insightful.
Sweet.
Karen, nice.
So you can see that Tim Grimm, that he's trying to put up an appearance, but he's really there's some sadness in what he's saying. You can tell that he's grieving about something.
Thank you, Dimitri.
But he's obviously not trying to show that. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I understand I understand you need to be cautious when greeting visitors at the gate, and I would be remiss if I didn't say it caused us no small amount of trouble to be shut out. But I understand where you're coming from. That said, I have to wonder at this town how it's managed to be so untouched by Strahd. It doesn't seem like it's been free of evil, though. You mentioned before there was a curse that fell upon your abbey.
Oh, curse. Yes, we hear screams coming from the place now and then. But we know no details of a curse. We avoid the place like the plague, however. It is mysterious, though. The head of the abbey, we simply call him the abbot. He arrived over a century ago and hasn't aged a day since. He occasionally visits the Shrine of the White Sun, but he doesn't talk much, and he demands tribute in form of wine, which we are happy to provide. I mean, it's not a problem at all. I don't know his true name or where he came from, and there are those within our walls that feel he is Strahd's servant or even the vampire himself in disguise. But I have met him
This is
once.
important. We're
He was a
looking
kind
for
man.
information on a mad or great
In
wizard.
the moment that I met him.
But tell me, how can it be that he's traveled here 100 years ago and still serves as the abbot of this place? That my knowledge of humankind is not the same. Not being human myself, I understand 100 years would leave for quite an old abbot at this point. Do you find he's aged? Not at all. There's something fishy going on there.
Oh, I agree with you there.
What?
But no one from the village visits the abbey anymore. The abbey's bell rings at odd times, day and night, and the place is filled with baleful screams and sometimes horrible inhuman laughter that can be heard throughout the village.
But the abbey, it's older than 100 years, no?
Oh, yes. It goes back hundreds of years.
Yeah, to
It's
Saint
the Abbey of Saint...
Macovia.
Yes, Saint Markovia, you see. Yeah, and he nods with you in agreement as you say this. Yes, she was a priest of the Morning Lord who
And-
took a stand against the Devil Strahd.
And we understood that she could actually bring people back to life, and that there might be scrolls here or information here that could help the people, specifically Irina, that have been affected by Strahd. We need
In this
the
moment,
knowledge here.
Mhm. Yeah, in this moment, he acknowledges Irina and the other party members as well, and shakes hands and all that stuff. He says, "Oh, surely there is much knowledge to be found in the Abbey, but I know of no details. I have never been."
Well, perhaps if this abbot takes takes a tithe of wine. I suppose you would have plans then to share some of this new bounty with him.
Yes, of course.
Maybe we can take that opportunity to deliver it ourselves and introduce ourselves.
Yeah, you may be onto something, Hex.
And see if we can glean some information about these strange happenings of late.
Yes, I do know some of the history.
Please.
The Abbey was once a hospital and a convent, you see. And yes, it was led by a woman then named Markovia. She was only sainted after her death. She took a stand against the devil Strahd long ago, hundreds of years ago. She stormed a castle Ravenloft and was destroyed in the process, I believe. But the Abbey, after her death, still went on. There was clergy in there. Legend tells it that it fell on hard times after the land was swallowed up by the mists. Some of the clergy fell prey to Strahd, while others went mad and either starved themselves to death or turned to cannibalism. So it was empty for many a year until about, my parents told me, it must be a little over 100 years now that the abbot arrived here in Krezk, and we welcomed him with open arms. He had the best of intentions. He went up there and, things are strange. Like I said, he doesn't age. And, the weird laughter coming from the place gives us the creeps.
Well, what we'd like is we want to go to the Abbey. And I look around at the party members to make sure that they're in agreement. And we want to get that knowledge. And maybe Irina and Ismark, or at least Irina, we could find a safe haven here for them.
Of course. You're welcome to stay here. And Ismark says, all right, I'm weary from our travels. If you want to go up to the Abbey, feel free. Irina, perhaps you and we can explore the village a little bit and, just take a stroll and catch our breath. And Irina agrees to that.
After they're out of earshot, I turn to the gentleman we're speaking to and say, what do you know of Tatiana? Who's Tatiana?
Tatiana who? He has no idea.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah. So, yeah. You guys want to go up to the Abbey?
Sure. Do you want to do that right now? Do you want to take there's no reason to rest.
No,
The only reason I could use... Right, I could use a short rest to put that spell back for an hour. All I need is a short rest to get my spell slot back. But I don't need to. I still have one spell slot available, but I wouldn't mind getting it back. You guys want to kill an hour?
You guys could if you want to go for a leisurely stroll with Irina around the place too, and just catch the sights, I will narrate the hour as it passes. We will do some roleplay events, and that will be the hour that passes, and you will have had a short rest.
Perfect.
If you agree.
Yeah, that would be great.
Well, I would want to look at those books with Timgrim if I could for some time.
All right, you wanna prepare for that, Timgrim? Actually, Timgrim, you still have what I sent you? Could you send that to me? Because I might want to tweak that actually.
I'll send that to you right away here.
All right.
Discord.
Okay, so let me see. Yeah, you know what? I wanna scratch that. Yeah. So let's not. If my apologies for that, I gave
Sorry. I'll remove it from my
Tindrum like a book.
headcanon.
Yeah,
It's
I
now
gave Tindrum
legends.
a book. It's Disney took over. It's not canon.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well,
So sorry about that, Minoran, but you will find out. No worries. Okay, so you guys are walking, and there's one site in Krezk that is of particular interest, and it's all the way to the north there. And like even under gray skies, the pool at the north end of the village shimmers and sparkles. Near its shore sits an old gazebo on the verge of collapse. A wooden statue of a mournful, bare-chested man, its paint chipped and faded, stands in the gazebo with arms outstretched as though waiting to be embraced. And you, Dira, you recognize the face of the statue as the face of the man in the vision you had earlier today.
Great. And where's this statue? If you could mark it, just so I have a...
Yeah, there.
Okay, very good. Yep. Thank you.
So, yeah. And the text that I wrote is here.
Okay.
Irina takes no note of it. Irina walks up to the water and sort of, just enjoying the scenery.
Is the gentleman still with us, or did he leave? Lord Krezk.
Yeah, he's not there. He went to attend to business, and you guys are just wondering.
Okay. I ask Irina, why is this statue here of Vasily? It's Vasily, right?
It's not.
no, it's
No.
the vision you saw when you touched Vasily's hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bear.
So I kind of just turned to Irina to see if I can get her to say, "Oh yeah, that's Vasily." Right? I'm trying to bait her into it a little bit to see if she'll tell me, "Hey, is that?"
And she's really distracted by the water, but she mumbles at you, "No, that's not Vasily. That's somebody else." And as Irina reaches the pool's edge, an image appears in its sparkling blue waters. The handsome youth of a kind and noble visage. And the sadness in his eyes turns to sudden joy. You guys now all see this face. Or, you see a face in the water which has features like this. And the face says, "Tatiana," he says, "it has been so long. Come, my love. Let us be together at last."
Oh boy, Vera
I'm
just
gonna-
had
Irina gasps and puts a hand on her heart and says, "My beloved Sergei, in life you were a prince and a man of faith. We were to be married long ago. Has this blessed pool called your spirit to me?" And she reaches towards the water's surface as a hand of water rises up to take hers.
Ooh, I'm gonna step forward and just kind of put a hand on her shoulder to keep her from being pulled into the water. Irina, no.
And I'm going to cast Divine Sense as I move forward to block the water as well, like to see what am I dealing with.
huge
We're living in a land of undead. I'm trying to sense if there's evil.
huge story part right here, everybody.
Yes.
Is that
Deer is
yes,
finally.
there's evil?
Mm,
So you cast Divine Sense, right?
yeah.
You sense a pure spirit.
Like a good.
Yes.
Oh, okay. At that I kind of relax and I look at the pool and I say, "This is not Tatiana. This is Irina. Spirit, you may be mistaken."
Okay. So
The hand has hold of hers, and she looks blissful. Your hand is on her shoulder, Timgrim. I need to know, as this hand is pulling, and she is seemingly willingly to go into the water. Do you hold her back, or
Yes. Yeah. Who is searching? Arena, no. What are you doing? And I try to pull her back.
And I move in between. I move into the arm of water.
you move what?
It's a hand of water, right? So like
Yeah.
I could step into the fountain between her and the water hand, right? It's just water. I could walk into it, can't I?
It's in the lake. Yeah, it's in the lake. We can walk in the water.
Minoran,
see
you can
the
go all
face
the way in that
clearly
water.
now.
Yeah, it's water. I'm in it.
So
Yeah, but
so you
pushing
know
her
right
back, yeah.
away there's nobody in the water. This is magic of some kind, powerful stuff, and there's legitimately a kind soul there. But Timgrim pulls her back, and the hand sinks back into the pool. And who would be that Irina called Sergei, his image fades, and she cries as she screams his name into the sky. Sergei, she cries. And then, all of a sudden, click, 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 anticlimactic.
And
A peal of thunder shakes the land. And the dark clouds above coalesce into a terrible visage. A deep, dark voice from beyond the mountains cries out as follows.
She is mine!
and suddenly, Dira is very, very concerned that he made Karen flirt with her.
A terrible
not a-
crack resounds as blue lightning splits the sky and strikes the pool. And each creature within 15 feet of the pool must make a successful DC 17 dexterity check.
Oh my god.
This is what I'm good at.
I'm gonna go ahead and use one of those +1.
Yeah, me too. +1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, guys.
Yeah, that's. Yeah.
Yeah, I might as well join the party.
Guys.
Who used the +1 there? I did.
I used one.
Okay. Oh, Karen, you should have used one.
I know I thought about saying it, but
Yeah, so so each creature that doesn't pass the DC 17 dexterity check is knocked prone. The blast knocks down the old gazebo as well. A creature that is in the water when the lightning strikes must make a DC 17 Constitution saving throw.
oh, well, at least she's good at that.
I'm gonna write you what the book says. So I think Minarin's in the water.
God.
Yeah, the question is, does my dexterity save get me out of the water?
No. You do a DC 17 dexterity? No, that's to be knocked prone or not. Oh shit.
Oh, no.
So now you can roll 8d10 Minarin.
Hey!
Oh, my
Still alive.
God. Wow. Wow.
So this lightning hits you for 40 damage.
Oh.
So what does that bring you down to?
don't. The four hit points.
Jeez.
So
It's
you
nothing.
guys see Minarin's bones just light up for a moment.
You see my entire
In
skeleton,
the
which
pool.
strangely humanoid. And I just
Yeah.
I fall to my knees and I just puke up everything we've eaten in the last 24 hours.
Hey, pancakes.
Just like blood running out my nose, ears,
Hang on.
and just like steam coming off of my skin and armor.
Roll. So Irina is knocked. And Ismark as well. And they're laying on their backs and they just look up while Minarin just lost the strength in her knees and sort of is just floating on top of the water here for a moment.
I'm not in the water, right? Because the hand reaches up and it was grabbing on Irina's. I am in the water, but I'm not like standing swimming. It's like 1 foot in the water, 1 foot out. In
Okay.
between where the water arm would be. So I just imagine me falling to the shore and doing that instead, right? No.
All right.
Like
Yeah, that's it.
yeah. Because I didn't want to like go for a swim while Irina was being grabbed by the hand. It was very much like I was within range to actually touch Irina and everything.
Okay. All right.
So I'll help up. Being that I wasn't knocked over, I'm going to go over to Tim Grum and help Timmy up. And as I'm doing that, I'm going to let him know. I said, do you remember, Tim Grum, when I told you telepathically that I had a vision when I touched that guy? It's the same person. I saw this Sergei when I shook his hand, Vasily's hand. Is Strahd somehow moving between people and time, and somehow is connected to Vasily some way and taking over his body, because I saw that Sergei when I shook his hand.
This is, it could be. I definitely got the impression from Vasily's quick movement. I'm sorry, we can talk about this later. We should
Right,
we should
okay.
really see the Minarin.
I go help Karen up too.
Going forward.
Well played.
Jeez, just fried fish, anyone?
Oh boy.
Oh, so much for my short rest too.
Then I go and then help Irina and Ismark up as well. Irina, are you okay? Are you there?
She's crying.
Irina, who's Sergei?
Who's Tatiana? Who-
She says, she's crying, and through her tears, she explains, I don't know. It's so confusing, but I knew him, and I was in love with him. I am in love with him. I wanted to be in that water so much. Why did you stop me?
Now it seems like you would have gotten electrocuted to death had we not.
Yes.
No, that was a kind soul.
Yes. It was a kind soul in the water, Irina, but this is not a kind soul's domain. Sergei, or whoever it was that inhabited the water and reached out to you, well, they may have been a kind spirit. They're not a person, they are a spirit, and a spirit's best wishes could still spell doom for a person.
No, she says, I don't believe you, Minura.
Yeah, we're on to something here. We're definitely on to
She's
something.
really emotional, and she her brother Ismark holds her by the shoulder and she shrugs it off and she walks away. And you guys all get a sense that it might be good to leave her be for a moment. She's obviously upset.
How can we help
And
you?
Ismark says, what the hell is going on? Don't worry about her. I'll take care of her. Now that we're in Krezk, I'll make sure she's safe.
And whatever
and
you do,
he-
stay here.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I promise, Dira. You and your friends have worked hard to bring us here. We have encountered many problems. We will stay within these walls. You get a sense that he's genuine about that. And then he walks off and follows Irina. Not trying to catch up, but, giving her space.
I guess, we'll just Timgrim's just gonna sit and help Minoran compose herself, see if there's anything you can do to kind of give her some support.
Now,
She seems to be bleeding profusely.
I'm going to
There's-
check in with Cairn and make sure he's okay.
Okay. You got knocked prone too, Karen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he stood up in the meantime when we were
Just kind of dazed,
Yeah, that's it.
standing up and not really understanding what just happened, but it seemed like what I would have told her as she left might have been something like, if it was a peaceful entity, anything that went from peaceful to evil that quickly can't be all good.
I'm just gonna look at Karen and say the entities we dealt with may have been separate.
Maybe.
There may have been two there. The one I sensed was pure.
I wonder if the one that was obviously more powerful that almost killed our little fish friend was using the other one as a pawn to get her closer.
It's not impossible. Strahd, we've learned, fought that great wizard at Sayre Falls, right? Have any of you ever seen a great wizard at work? I haven't. Can't say that I have, but I've heard stories. And if Strahd was able to fight the wizard toe to toe, perhaps Strahd himself is a wizard of no small renown. In which case, lightning from the sky, turning himself into another man, are these things possible to them? I'm not a master of the arcane like Timgrim and Dira, but perhaps.
Timgrim's always been interested in these types of stories, so we might have heard of such things.
Yeah, is there a check here, Whip, that we could do to maybe understand this arcana?
I guess so, but you're gonna have to roll pretty high.
Okay.
I'm thinking nat 20.
Okay.
Let's see. Yes!
You ask, and you shall receive.
Yeah, not me though.
So
Nice job,
what is
Timmy.
it? What was the question? Give me the details again. What are you trying to figure out here?
Well, the way that that it all had played out makes us wonder about Strahd's powers himself. The way that there seemed to be a good spirit in the lake, and then this giant lightning bolt came down, and there's this really weird, this impression we're getting where Strahd is in everything we see. Maybe he's some sort of powerful wizard that can kind of impersonate and project himself around. And
Okay.
Timgrom's kind of scouring his mind, trying to think of stories about wizards of great power that he might have heard about, that maybe things like this exist that he's aware of.
All right. I'm going to give you the answer, but first I got to close the door behind Stephanie for a moment. She's leaving for a night shift. I'll be right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Just to build up the suspense.
I know, right? I'm
Well, the
dying
DM's
here.
gone. Load all the dice, you guys.
I already did.
This might be. I thought last week was epic. This might be the most epic thing ever.
I think it's going to be really funny if he comes back and he just says, "All right, guys, so no,
Right?
no, that's not what's happening," and continues.
Yeah. Hex in my chat is saying, "Dude, it's getting thick." Yeah. This is. The way Strahd is moving, right? We're peeling back the layers here for sure.
Uh,
I typed a thing that I was just going to mess with Whip when he comes back. I was going to type if roll equals or is less than 20, make roll 20 or something like that. And
yeah.
it must be actual syntax because the only part that showed up was if roll. So the rest of it must have been accepted by the chat pane as some kind of
command or something, yeah.
Some kind of command, yeah. Which it didn't do anything,
go,
obviously.
You should go look at that text link I sent you to.
Oh yeah.
There may be some script in there actually, because there was script examples.
Oh yeah, they use brackets and the greater than less than stuff for different
for
styles.
Your acid breath.
Like yeah,
you really should see a doctor about that. I'm just saying.
That's just indigestion. It'll be fine. I just lost my Tums.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, what are we thinking about this, boys? Right?
I'm really curious about what would have happened if Irina had been allowed to enter the water. I get the impression there wouldn't have been a strike of lightning. I'm fairly confident of that. But how would Strahd have been able to get here? Because I do feel that was the intention. But how? She enters the water and teleports? She enters the water and dies?
Everybody but Whiplash, but you didn't choose the GM one. So yes, Min has 3, Tim has 2, Karen has 2, I have 2. So whoever you like.
Probably not the lightning.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Well, in hindsight, I think, Karen, your flirtation that drew out that frustration is going to be, oh, good Lord. Wesson in my chat just gave Whiplash another +1.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, thanks. Get out, Paul. Leave it to my resident troll to do that. We'll have to let Whiplash know. But I think Karen, that role play is going to prove to be a pivotal moment where
is it?
We first, to be saved for all time, where we heard that first Tatiana, that first name in frustration that came out, I think really set us down this course. So
fair enough.
There you go. That's the way I'm going to think about it anyways.
It's like star-crossed lovers linked across all kinds of different time.
It makes me think about Ray and Ren.
Yeah,
spoiler alert.
I didn't watch the new one, so I don't know if there's anything.
Yeah, spoilers. Don't say anything.
Okay.
Phineas, can you? What would you say is a good rundown of that little situation?
Which one? Ours or the movie?
The one ours.
Okay. So, when I did detect thoughts, what I discovered was that, there was some frustration right away. The first word I got was frustration, and that he was playing it a lot cooler than he was feeling. And then really got down into his thoughts that he really cherished Irina. It was infatuation. And for some reason, in the moment, what I wanted to happen was I wanted him to continue with us, to come to Krezk with us. And my thought in my head real fast was, By the way, my chat gave you Whiplash your +1 back. So there you go. So what I thought, Zero, was if I could get Vasily frustrated enough and he felt that you were a threat, as suave and debonair and pancake, infatuated that you are.
Sweet
that
like
if
syrup, I get you.
Right. If he saw that, then maybe he would break from his decision to go back to where he was headed and come with us to Krezk. That was my initial thought, was get him to come to Krezk. And that's why in the moment I used telepathy, it said, come with us. And I wanted you to get to him to be frustrated enough to say, no, Karen's a threat. I need to go and continue with them. That's what I wanted. But the Tatiana bit coming out was just gold and really, I think, set us down a different path.
Oh, basically, I flirted with Irina in the most awkward way because I had no time to prepare.
It was brilliant.
I opened by talking about Dragonborn anatomy, and I closed by making a sleight of hand check to wrap my tail around her waist seductively. Worked. It was horrific, but it worked.
It did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Which
It was
piss
beautiful.
off Vasily.
Right.
It would have been great if she
Good
was,
rolls. Good
if she was
rolls.
Dragonborn. I'd have put a ring on it by now, but it's not.
Yeah.
So.
And that's really what I wanted to happen, was that frustration level. And the only reason I didn't choose Tim Grimm was you're tall. That's the only thing that entered my head.
Whoa!
Was that,
What, you think just because he's not got the height, he's not
I get it.
worth it?
Well, you guys, you
He's
got to
got
admit,
so much
you gotta-
value as a...
Tall, dark, and handsome. Tall, dark, and handsome.
he's
I
short.
have a-
He's 3 foot nothing.
Listen,
I'm
he's
5
super
foot,
smart,
thank-
though, and he can swing a battle axe.
Basically,
I am tall
picture
for
like
a dwarf.
Picture like a Gila monster flirting with a regular human in real life, and that's pretty much what happened.
Right. But in the moment, so, you don't think of these things. I mean, I know we're kind of breaking down our deal here, but, in the moment, I'm trying to think really quickly. I'm like trying to decide, okay, who am I going to telepathy with? And then I was like, well, you're the only one that's literally went through my head. Karen is, tall. And Karen, I need you to do this. And the other thing that went through my head was, after tall, the secondary thought was, like, I think our two characters kind of are, when exploring, air quotes, and rummaged through all of that stuff, we stole that stuff back in Barovia together. I figured if I went to you and said, flirt with him, you would look at me like, all right, he's been through a couple things with me. I guess I'll trust him. That was my second. The real first thought was, you're tall.
Okay.
Because I would have been a bit offended if you're like, we've been through a lot, man. I helped you kill a tree.
Right, you did. It was really the tall thing. That was really probably
I get
85% of the decision was tall.
I mean, it's hard to say no to those scales. I get it.
Right? I mean,
Personally, I think Tim Grimm's the more enchanting one, but might just be Minoran's preference there. I don't know.
it was brilliant. Anyways, okay, back to it, Whiplash. We're yours.
All
Unless,
right.
Karen, there was anything else.
So you asked for a critical roll.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what just happened was you guys a face came up from the water, a hand. Irina was completely enchanted with it. She said the face in the water said, Tatiana, it's been so long. Come, my love, let us be together at last. She gasps, puts her hand on her heart, said stuff like, my beloved Sergei, in life you were a prince and a man of faith. We were married to be married long ago. Has this blessed pool called your spirit to me? And by all counts, it looked like she was going to be pulled down under the surface of the water if that hand would keep pulling her. But Tim Grimm pulled her back. As a response, like a thunder strike, a peal of thunder struck the valley so loud You guys had to do a dexterity saving throw to see if you fell on your feet or not. And Irina and Ismark fell on their feet. Minorin, because she had one foot in the water type of thing, was struck by the lightning as it hit the pool, took 40 damage. It's not feeling too well. It's not feeling too well at all. And you guys were talking about this. Is it Strahd shape-shifting into a pool? But can it be? There was a good spirit going on and all that stuff. That Minorin told you about. Also, Irina felt the same way. And then basically Timgrim said, I want to kind of analyze what just happened here and figure this thing out. And I told him, fine, but you're going to have to roll pretty high. I'm thinking natural 20. Boom. He rolls a natural 20.
You ask, man. Yeah, there it is.
You delivered. So what you figure out is that there was no foul magic at play with this pool. You're getting a sense, Timgrim, that this was an actual soul of a good-natured entity. I mean, retroactively, 2020 hindsight, you get this sense, not in the moment. That this was a really good-spirited soul that manifested itself as water in the pool. Maybe because the statue was there. Who knows? The lightning strike and the peal of thunder was definitely coming from the east, from the direction of Ravenloft. And, calling out with that booming voice, she is mine, that must have been Strahd. It had some of his intonation in there, calling out from his castle, maybe. So you also conclude that the entity in the pool is not Strahd. What you figure out is that if somebody dies in this land, their soul cannot go to heaven. It is stuck in here with the mists, trapped in the fog. And perhaps this was one of these souls that died long ago and found a way to manifest itself through Irina's presence.
Interesting. So
Maybe even Dira seeing a vision of this thing. What does it mean? Did this soul find a way to reach out, put itself in Dira's head? Who knows? But it's definitely not Strahd. You figure that out.
Okay. So.
And it's no illusion magic and all that stuff. Yeah.
So there was something back. When Strahd was around, he had this obsession with Tatiana. I suppose this continues, but Tatiana is betrothed to Sergi, as we see. It looks like.
And they were, supposed to be married, which means they didn't get married.
And the fact that we're seeing this dude's spirit mull around in this pond makes me think it might have been some unfortunate circumstance that saw to why that marriage could not come to fruition. Perhaps there's some way we can uncover the truth of this Sergi's past, see if we have some way of putting them at ease. It's a peaceful spirit. If the only way to do that is to break Strahd's curse.
That would also explain why there are some bodies born without souls. The connection to the gods here, I'm sure you've heard me mention, is very weak. And they're the ones that will bestow souls upon people as they're born. So if they can't reach into, and Whip, feel free to stop me here, it's just like, this is, I think it's like the Great Wheel cosmology or something like that, is where they just like the gods are the ones that made the souls or bestow them.
Yep.
She says, if the gods aren't able to bestow the souls, then it could be that the souls that people are born with are the ones that have been here from the beginning. Right? Maybe Irina remembering Sergei and feeling this strongly, perhaps she has inherited this Tatiana's soul. Oh. If this barrier blocks all these souls from escaping, then it could be that these souls are all mulling about inside here, and this is what we're dealing with. Yes.
It's a closed system. Yep.
And there's not enough souls for every new babe who's born, so as the people grow, we get more of these soulless.
That's
You
That's
get an
fascinating.
inspiration point, Minorin, for accurately figuring that out.
Ooh.
Nice.
yeah, that's pretty cool. This place is like super green. That's recycling all the way.
Yeah. Everything, man. Reduced, reused, and recycled.
Including the
So-
souls.
I don't know how long you guys want to keep on still. I have an unlimited constitution, but it's up to you guys.
I can keep going. It's up to the guys.
I'm a little bit concerned because last time we were given that prompt, we're like, yeah, sure, yeah, we'll just go and check on one little thing, and then suddenly it was 2 hours later.
Yeah. Walk into the village square. It's an attack by Strahd!
Oh no!
Because if you're intending to go to the Abbey now, there would be nothing standing in your way to do that. So
we
you
can-
tell me what you want to do.
So we could simply explore the Abbey. Do you think we would be able to finish exploring it tonight?
Like if we go on until like 1 a.m, maybe.
Okay.
I don't think so myself.
Well, I think we can get into it a little and see if there's a good break point in there.
Mm-hmm.
Could be that. There are other attractions in town, perhaps.
Yeah.
But I don't know
and
how long those might take. Shops or, you know.
exactly.
Yeah, so this place is it's a lot like a hippie communion, except there's no hippies in the sense that, they don't have a shopkeep.
Mm.
People just know each other. This guy knows how to, feather a chicken or skin a hare, and, they work with each other to survive.
That is true,
There's no
Hex.
economy
We don't know what's in it.
beyond
There's
that.
nothing stopping us from getting there.
People working
We just
together
don't know what's in it.
What's that book? Utopia? Remember that book?
I just had a vision in my head of Karen with long hippie hair. Maybe in a long bow tie. Yeah, long, ponytail behind them.
Not sure if he has hair. He's got those tendrils coming out of his head there.
Feathers, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe.
So you're saying that these are communists and we need to leave.
Yeah, I'm ready to leave.
I
They're different than communists in that they don't try to make everybody else live the same way. They're more like North Korea because they have walls.
get you.
But no slave labor.
This is that town that threatens all the other towns but can't back it up.
Walking around behind houses, you guys see some graves, and you can run me an insight check, someone.
I'll do it. I'm all about them graves.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
you are.
You guys are on fire tonight. So
Yep.
Minorin, you accurately deduce that these, as these generations of people live and die and make children and all that stuff, they don't have a church here or anything official like a graveyard. They bury their relatives basically, in the woods, and then they put a sapling on it. But some of these fresh graves closest to the road that leads up to the Abbey, like here and stuff, right?
Yeah.
They look like grave robbed.
Hmm.
Like
That's
there's
concerning.
nothing
Closest to
in it
the
at all?
Abbey. Like they've been dug up and there are no corpses?
Yeah, they look like, amateurishly, quickly dug up and nothing in there anymore. It doesn't look like a freshly dug grave, which would be, nice and neat and rectangular. This looks like, grave robber work.
Point that out to everyone, and is there anyone around? Any villager?
Yeah, you're
No.
right.
So there's
Hex.
that
We'll
house
see
there,
how
though.
this
That's
plays
smoke
out.
coming out of the chimney. This one.
Well, noticing that they've been grave robbed, I'm concerned. I'm gonna move up and knock on the door to the house.
We also
Okay.
need to get you a long rest.
Yeah, you'd have to wait for night to fall and to sleep at night because there's a limit on how much you can long rest in a
Yeah.
24-hour time span.
Yeah, at some point, over by the lake, when I stood up, I just kind of placed a hand on my chest, and
Got it.
and you could see a little bit of salty goodness just wash over me, and not full healing. I just brought myself up to 10 hit points.
Okay. And Whip, I'm assuming I did not complete my short rest.
Yeah, you did.
I
This
did?
whole
Okay.
walk
Okay,
and
very good.
interaction. Yeah, that's a short rest.
All right, very good.
Yeah, so you knock on the door, and a woman in her 40s opens up, and she says, and she closes her door.
I knock again, and I say,
Well,
Like
"Excuse
every
me."
woman with 40s ever.
Silence.
I say, "I noticed you've been grave robbed. Is that a problem around here?" And I shout it through the door.
And she opens a crack of her door and says, "Are you from the Abbey?"
I say, "No, I'm not from the Abbey. I am Minrin Puckfeth. I am a paladin. I serve gods of light. And I simply noticed you've been grave robbed, and I was wondering what was."
Let me roll. Oh, she says, I've never seen any of your kind before. Sorry, my initial reaction
okay.
was fear.
I understand in these trying times, it's
Yes, even
perfectly fine.
Yeah, we get that a lot.
people have been dying here more than normal.
Mm-hmm.
My husband, he died a week ago, and I buried him in the back, and his corpse is gone. I'm quite distraught. It happened last night.
See.
I have no explanation for it except for maybe what goes on in that abbey.
Yes, it sounds quite strange. Is there any reason for you to think it would be the person from the Abbey, the abbot?
I don't know. I've seen the abbot. He looks nice enough.
I understand. And
I don't know how he can stand to stay in that place. The screams coming from the place are inhuman at times.
yes, that's certainly worrying. Event, I
Says
guess.
even-
Thing.
Even the Burgomeister,
His youngest child died, and that grave has been robbed as well. He's quite distraught over it.
Indeed. When did these grave robbers start?
Oh, it's been going on for a few weeks now.
A few weeks.
But
Has there anything happened recently that you can think of? Anything that would happen around the same time as these grave robbers?
no, I have no explanation for it. But we're robbed of our ability to grieve our loved one.
Do you mind if I go take a look at the empty grave? If I can figure something out.
Sure. I don't mind at all.
Nice.
I'll go with.
Turn to the others. Yeah, I'm like, does anyone
let's
who
go.
knows how to track want to come with me? And maybe you guys who know about the arcane stuff. I'm not sure we're dealing with the undead, but we should use everything we can to figure this out. It may give us a clue when dealing with this town. I'm gonna approach and just kind of like, guess I'll use divine sense to sense if it's a desecrated area, kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. So you just smell damp earth.
Okay.
It's a neutral in this sense.
Turn to the others and say it's not sacred, but it's not desecrated. There's no evil that I can sense here. Do any of you find something?
So you guys can roll a survival check if you want, or an arcana check, or
I
a
just
nature
did.
check. Depends
I
on
just
what
did
you want.
Arcana.
Okay. So, you don't sense any magic going on here, Dira, but I don't know, maybe it's too powerful for you to detect. You don't know.
Okay.
Can I do an investigation roll, perhaps, to see about any? I'm looking for tracks. I'm looking for tool marks. I'm looking for what kind of
Yes.
tool was used to
Survival?
dig.
Give me the roll. I'll take either or, which are stronger in this case. Survival
they're the same for me. Yeah.
or investigation, yeah.
All right, so this went badly, but it's about to go better because I have Lady Luck's pinpricker, which allows me to re-roll one
Ah.
shitty roll every day.
Nice.
Yes.
So I'm going to go ahead and use it now because it seems important. And it went a little better.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, your initial glance at this, Karen,
Dirt.
you don't see it.
It's dirt.
Dirt.
There's dirt.
you don't quite
in your
see it.
mind. And you
But,
turn into Sherlock Holmes.
You use your Lady Luck spin pricker to sort of, prod in the dirt and push things aside. And that's when you see that, like, on the side that you're on, this grave has been dug by something whose left hand was human and whose right hand was a claw. And then a little bit further, you see two, like, cat-like paws that have been digging. And then a third creature has been digging on the opposite end of that, perpendicular to it, and you see like a slithering of some kind writhing in the earth, getting the soil away. But definitely, there were three creatures that dug this up, not something that got out of the soil on its own up.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is clearly the work of the Ninja Turtles and Shredder.
I've seen sea turtles. I did not know that they could be ninjas.
Oh, why do you think?
Way to go, Karen. Way to go.
By the way, just totally aside, Frethen, somebody in my chat mentioned that it would be funnier if your character had to wear a fishbowl on your head all the time because you couldn't breathe air.
I've
And I
killed
just pictured
guys.
it.
Amphibians. Please.
That was very speciesist of you, Wiggity.
Yeah, come on.
Anyway. Okay, so I will mention all of this to my compatriots and kind of tell them what I've seen Say clearly there are three different. I mean, it appears to be three different beings here. This is a set of beings that you will notice when you see them.
It's interesting. We were warned that Strahd had dominion over all this place and all its creatures. I guess this is this could be an example of that.
The lady comes up and says, "Have you discovered anything?" And Tim Grum, you can give me a survival. You see patterns of something being dragged up the hill to the.
Well, I believe we found a few bits of information. It looks at a glance, it is as you figured. It's something to do with the Abbey. Perhaps this is a line of questioning we'll need to bring to the abbot himself to see what need he has of fresh of these poor souls, and what help he's gotten from the animal kingdom.
My goodness.
I don't know if that's something we want to
Yeah.
head up to now, or if we're going to still mill about the town.
Well, my thing would be using hit dice to heal myself, but other than that, I could go up.
Let's go.
All right.
I don't know if we want to go up and really get into it now, or if we're just gonna kind of go up.
Well, I
Get
also
it set up because it is 11:30 too.
Yeah, I had also wanted to talk to you about the books before going, and Minoran's thoughts being perhaps we should learn a little bit more about the religion here and what's going on, to have some context before we confront the Abbey itself.
Yeah, I gotta write that up again and send you some. So if you guys choose to leave it here, I can do that by next session. Just give you guys that information.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Could work that, yeah.
All right. So then let's let me read you some. Then we'll leave it out there. So you guys discuss the books, Timgrim and Minoran, as you walk up to the Abbey, which is like a the road that goes up the mountain there. And the switchback road that hugs the cliff is 10 feet wide and covered with loose gravel and chunks of broken rock. The ascent is slow and somewhat treacherous, and the air grows colder as one nears the top. And on that note, we will end our session.
Perfect. All right, let me go say goodnight.
That was
to my
fantastic.
stream. Yeah, it was
Same.
awesome.
Thanks.
Be right back.
See you soon.
All right. That was epic. That had to be one of the coolest nights of D&D that I've ever been a part of. It was super awesome. Yeah, I know, Hex. I wish we could do more, but it is 11:30 Eastern time. This is what we do. This is why we love it. Make sure that you go see Zero State live. He is awesome, and give him a follow if you haven't, everybody. He's just fantastic. A huge thank you, Hex, for your sub, for your tip, your donation, for being such a huge part of what we do here. Wesson for hanging out, and a special thank you to all the guys who participate, Frethen, Whiplash, and Teobuck. So thank you. I'm traveling this week, so probably the next time you see me, I'll probably stream this weekend a little bit, but then I'm gone all week because my business travel is, thank you, Hex. My business travel is starting up again, so I'll probably stream another night this weekend, but then I'm gone Monday through Thursday, so the next time you see me, we'll be back in D&D land. So until then, be good, And yes, I'll be back for next Friday night. So we'll do this again next Friday night. Mark it down, everybody. Come back and see us. But until then, be good, and I'll see you when I see you.